Not too long ago, a video surfaced of an ex-pastor named Kevin Wesley who claims to have found enough evidence to make him rethink his faith in God and the Bible.
It's a video of Kevin Wesley. He used to be a pastor.
First of all, I want to commend you, ex-pastor Wesley.
It all started 325.
He went there. He went there. He went there. He went there.
There's a video going crazy right now. It's on World Star. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. And it's about a guy who, he says he was a pastor.
There is a God, but he believes that the Bible has too many inconsistencies and that there is nothing historically that backs up anything that the Bible says.
He has left the church and the Bible is not real.
I hope that you become the next T.D. Jakes of the conscious community. I hope that you blow up.
Wanna fly, can you take? Give me a star to reach for.
What it takes.
And I'll go so high.
I'll go so high.
Won't touch the ground.
Take these wings and pull these
strings and stitch these wings before we all fall down. We just want the truth. The truth. Why? 'Cause it'll make these walls fall down. We just want the truth. Why? 'Cause it'll make these walls fall down. Ain't I the closest thing to an angel with broken wings? Can't fly. People tried to kill him, but he can't die. And he can't deal with the pain, the damage he inflicts on himself remains, and he can't heal. When he's supposed to, so as opposed to having energy, he doesn't. He's been exposed to the truth, and there's an enemy between him and God. So much chemistry between him and I. Chemically we're the same, so I guess he is my inner side. Intertwined, him and I are the same chemically, You got that medicine, it better be proven clinically to heal him. Better yet, kill him. Until then, I represent truth, and that's all I gotta say,
Peace, peace, family. Rise and shine, as I like to say, and welcome to the Truth Factory. It's time to get it back in, man. I missed y'all. So let me first start off and say Raina, Vita, Why People Why, Laquita, Angela, Nathaniel, Shalene, my brother's keeper, Iron Charioteer, Kaylin, Riri High, Nemo, Garland, Terry, Bevelin, Tim, Donna Givens, and Coach Laspy. Welcome in, guys. I see y'all in the chat room already. Welcome in, guys. So we're going to talk a little bit today. Hopefully we can find out why we're stuck in this rut, why we're stuck in this, seems like this bad habit or this this place that we can't get out of. What is causing it, right? Thank you, Laquita, for the same. What about you guys? Peace, my brother Papa. I see you. Brian, it feels like forever, man. It's only been 2 weeks. I feel like I haven't spoken to you guys, and whoo, feels like forever, man. So it's really good to be in front of a screen again and see you guys' names pop up. Let me get some likes for the video real quick. If you're on the page, let's get some thumbs up. I'm just giving it some more time for you guys to come on. Black Rose, I'm doing all right. I know a lot of you, I'm going to save it till more people get on it where I don't have to keep saying it over and over. No Name Rose D said, I miss you, Kevin and Josh. We miss you too. Charlene, what's going on? Thumbs up to you too. I'm okay. Missing Roger Howarth. Did I say that right? Very high, had withdrawals. Hopefully we won't miss any more shows, man. Hopefully we won't miss any more opportunities to give you guys some information. Guys, listen, just keep in mind, man, next week is the goal. We're going to be moving to 6:30 instead of 8 o'clock. A lot of people can't really stay on that long, so they have to get off pretty early for work and things like that. So I want to be able to give you guys a more comfortable time that works for everyone. So 6:30 is the goal, and we should be starting next week. So hopefully you guys are down with that and be ready to get down on next Sunday at 6:30. Al, I saw many suggestions on my current health situation, brother. I will be talking about that here shortly, but not for long. Best teachers are the best listeners. That's right, Marbo. While people watch that, I've been waiting forever for an earlier time. So far, somebody's good with it. That's cool. I'm happy about that. I hear you, these nuts. Sometimes it's like that, man. And maybe you'll find out today, and you potentially already know this, of course. But for those of you that wonder why some of your family members have a hard time with you hearing some of this information or some of the things that we say, if you don't know why, you'll find out tonight. All right. So tonight we're talking about why we're stuck in this rut, why we can't seem to move forward. So we're going to be exposing the game. All right. So we're going to be exposing the game behind what is it that's keeping us held back. All right. Terry said 6:30 at work. Cool. Fantastic. And that is Eastern time too, Terry. So I should say that. Riri said 6:30 is great. It's okay. She said, it's Central or East? It's Eastern time. Lighthouse in the building. What's up, Eddie? Shout out to Jamal in the Lighthouse. No doubt about it. Mama said in the same boat. A lot of people, man, are having quite some time with their loved ones, man, when it comes to this new, different information, right? So. All right, guys, I'm just looking at YouTube and looking at Facebook, just trying to make sure I have a certain amount of people on before I really go in. I just want to make sure I don't have to keep repeating myself. So. Thank you, Josh. Andre said, "What's up? What's going on, Andre?" Why I know some of y'all stay up for way on into the night just to be able to see the rest of the podcast, being on the conversation and get the information. And so I do thank you guys for showing the attention span, because I know a lot of you guys got to go to work the next morning, all that good stuff. Get the children ready for school when it's school time, things like that. Andre said he'd been chilling. That's what's good, bro. So hopefully a earlier time would let you guys be able to watch the rest of the show and still be able to get to sleep by a decent hour. All right, guys. So I'm just going to say just a little bit about the CDH1 cancer mutation gene. Of course, many of you know, of course, for the last few months, of course, I've been talking about losing my sister to cancer, stomach cancer. My mother died the same way. My sister on her deathbed, she asked all of us to go get, our test, to go get a test to see if we were genetically prone to this stomach cancer, because she was dying the same way as my mother. So she died, of course, shortly after that. She died really quickly after she first went to the hospital. But long story short, we all went and got this test done, and turns out 4 out of 5 of us, of the siblings, do have the gene, including myself, and then 3 out of 3 so far of my mother's grandchildren actually have the gene, which means that so far every son or daughter from my mother's children does have the gene. I haven't tested my children yet. The doctors say that you want to wait till at least around 20 or something like that to do it. That's fine with me. My daughter is 16. My sons are 12 and 11. So I'll wait until then to do it. So a lot of people are expressing sympathy and stuff for me. I'll be honest with you guys. I prefer not to have it. I try to just ask you guys in all honesty, and give you guys my plan in all honesty, to say what decision I'm trying to do. I'm moving forward though. I go to meet with the surgeon on Tuesday, and that's just to set up the appointment to have my stomach looked at, examined with the endoscopy or the biopsy to check and see if I currently have cancer. So we don't know anything like that yet, guys. This is just me saying that I have the cancer gene, and it's saying the surefire way to not have to worry about getting cancer. I want to go ahead and get this done. So a lot of people have sent me messages and stuff expressing that they're sorry to hear it. I really thank you all for that. But at the same time, I don't really like pity. I just like to carry on like it's not even happening. So if you can, keep the GoFundMe in mind. I definitely need you guys' help in getting the next step done or in carrying out my process. Obviously, it's costly to get a surgery. But at the same time, we just gonna move on like normal, okay? We're not gonna be acting sad, nothing like that. I got this cancer gene, absolutely, I do, but I've had it my entire life, right? So there's no need to be all scared and all this kind of stuff. We're just gonna keep on moving and get the job done, right? It's not about me, it's about everyone. It's about us being free, right? Free mentally, moving forward and creating a better world. Let's not forget that. Thank you very much, Laquita Owens. Thank you very much, Laquita. Guys, we do have a GoFundMe, Cashapp, and PayPal, of course, for those of you that want to help me get this procedure done. So I don't have to worry about getting gastric diffuse cancer, which is one of the most deadliest cancers. It really sneaks up on you. For those of you that's wondering, what are my chances if I were to remove my stomach? So far, 100%. No one who has gotten their stomach removed or got this procedure done has had to deal with gastric diffuse cancer after the fact. So keep that in mind as well. So I know a lot of people are telling me to try different products, tea tree oil, or black seed oil. What is it called? Soursop, I think it's called. Different fruits, different herbs, of course. To yes, we will add the GoFundMe in the description. So people are asking me to try different things. I am definitely willing to try stuff like that, guys. But please understand that also requires money. I don't live in a place where I can try or use marijuana to get better for health reasons. I'm not even an area for that. But if I were, I would still need money. So keep that in mind, guys. A lot of people are offering advice, but they're not offering even $1 or a quarter or 50 cents or a nickel. Anything. I appreciate the advice, but guys, I actually need help. So thank you guys very much. Free thinker, man. It's nice to be back, man. Thank you very much for the donation. Actions speak louder than words. You know we need it. Thank you, guys. Tevin, thank you. No pseudoscience necessary. That's right, brother. I mean, I honestly think that a lot of people haven't thought it through, and a lot of people must not watch me on the norm because when I first put the GoFundMe out, they asked me to use my insurance, which if anybody follows me, they know I didn't have a job. They asked me to use my 401k, many things like that. So a lot of people, I think, are seeing the GoFundMe for the first time and maybe knowing who I am, but they haven't actually stayed caught up with what we've been doing, guys. So I think that's kind of what's going on. But then, too, even if they do follow, maybe they missed the episodes or the podcast where I talked about my family, my sister, and how she died so suddenly. Because I think that if you guys had saw that, you wouldn't be so quick to ask me just to try herbs. You would know that that my sister and the people in my family have died of this just recently, and so that's why I'm taking such a sense of urgency to get it done. So just keep that in mind.
The links are in the description of both description box for Facebook and YouTube, by the way.
Fantastic. So if you guys didn't hear Josh, the links are in the description on both YouTube and Facebook. Thank you very much, Brian. Hey, listen, guys. For those of you who normally donate, I really thank you. But for those of you who don't normally donate, I would ask you guys to at least once make a contribution. See how it feels to you. See if it feels good. If it feels good, do it again. A lot of you guys have been listening, acquiring this information and things like that and have yet to contribute. Maybe it's because you don't have it. Maybe it's because you plan to in the future. But I like to ask you guys to try to give something. We keep saying even if it's $1, right? So that's not a large amount. Give what you can, guys. We want one of those type of relationships where if you receive, you give, right? If you're getting information that helps you in your life, why not deposit something monetary into that person so you can help them to keep moving forward? This is how things are done, right? But we're going to talk about that anyway because my message or what I want to talk about is kind of going to touch on that whether I wanted to or not. So we will get into that. But we're going to be talking about what is holding us back, okay? What is keeping us from moving forward? And we're going to expose the game, right? So I want to see what some of you guys say. What is holding us back? What is holding us from moving forward? What is holding us from seeing a better future? And that's probably a broad question because many of you may have a different future in mind. But let's just say a future where people are not, let's just say black people are not on the bottom of the social scale. There's peace, there's understanding. We are moving forward as a people. What would you say is holding us back? Riri Ha said fear. I like that, Riri Ha. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. I'm honored. Actions speak louder than words, brother. Thank you very much. So Riri Ha said fear. Fear of what other people may think. Ignorance. Claudia Goins, thank you very much. Ignorance. Money. Wow, that's a good one. Ignorance is a great one. Mega churches and false doctrines. Wow, absolutely. You already know that's going to be a number one or a great answer. Lack of knowledge. Absolutely. I cannot disagree with any of these answers so far. Losing family members does hurt with moving forward. It does. Thank you very much, Marbo. Greed. Absolutely. Greed. I'm going to keep that. Let's keep that in the top of our minds, guys. Greed, money, ignorance. Someone said lack of knowledge. You're going to tie those two together, okay? And then someone said fear. And someone else said fear as well. So we're going to keep that in mind. Greed, selfishness. Absolutely. Someone says skin color. Absolutely. Your skin color can hold you back. Whether or not people want to admit it or not, the skin that you're in is a factor in the world, right? Lack of trust. That can definitely hold you back. No doubt about it. Brandon said emotions, okay? Tevin Ruff said skepticism and reasoning. Thank you very much for the donation, Tevin. Actions speak louder than words. The social system. I would not disagree with you, Derek. Absolutely. Social consciousness. Wow. Tea time. I like that. Al McKnight said blindness and fundamental darkness. Right. The inability to compromise. Marble said cognitive dissonance. Romello, I like that one. Marble, I like that one. Mental delusions, Iron said. I like that. Shalene's and grief, letting go of what's familiar. Thank you very much, WLA68. Lack of desire and take action. Thank you very much. Actions speak louder than words. Family can absolutely hold you back, Janice. I don't disagree with that at all. Inability to agree to disagree. We cannot simply just move on and just let bygones be bygones, right? Fear of being alone. Thank you very much, LeSean. Actions speak louder than words, brother. You always there. Iron, thank you very much. Let's see here. Confirmation biases. That's right, Iron. No Name said, no, thank you very much, No Name. Being closed-minded. Right. Marco, thank you very much, brother. Thank you guys very much for the donations, guys. It really means a lot. Especially we done missed 2 weeks, man, so we're really going to need them. Let's see. Crabs in a barrel syndrome. Absolutely. Holding others back because you don't like where you are. That type of stuff has to stop. We have to become a type of person who loves one another. And when I say love, I don't just mean tell each other you love them. I mean, we should inquire about each other's goals and future endeavors and try to help one another to reach those goals instead of holding them back. It's really sad that we do that, y'all. It really is. Thank you very much, Jerome. And peace to you.
What if we don't agree with their lifestyle?
We should always look out for each other's best interests. So, like, let's just say, like Josh said, what if you disagree with their lifestyle?
They're Christian or they're gay or they're lesbian or they're white, they're brown, Asian, whatever. Should we still work with them?
Absolutely. If a person does not necessarily line up with your way of living, your lifestyle, and that person's goals are in line with yours, you should absolutely work with that person. What they do when they get home has nothing to do with you if they're not causing any intrinsic harm to anyone else. And what I mean by intrinsic harm, I mean pain. I mean things that another person has not set up, a person has not signed up for, right? It is completely mutual between them and that other party, whatever life they're living. If they want to help you move forward, or you need to lend it, you need to help lend it to you, or a hand lend it to you, you shouldn't hold back simply because they have a different belief system or you don't like their way of life. Thank you very much, Grady. Let's see. Convince them otherwise. Religion is a reason, absolutely. Jealous and envy, okay? I agree. RA says we don't know what we can do today, this hour, and what to do daily to make our situations better collectively that will work for all people of color. Misinformation is clouding a simple concrete plan. Absolutely. Absolutely. Black Rose said absolutely. All right, so Look, guys, we're just going to talk about this, and the best way for me to break it down, I guess to put it in words so we all can have something to go by. I'm going to use a movie we all know well. Who remembers The Matrix? Yes or no? Someone says gentrification. Absolutely. Generational pathology and of post-slavery conditioning. I do agree. WLA 68. I do agree. Who remembers The Matrix, guys? We remember The Matrix, right? If you have not saw The Matrix, let me know. Looks like everybody remembers The Matrix pretty well here. Thank you very much, Felicia. That is so needed. Actions speak louder than words. Peace to you. Really, y'all, thank y'all for the donations, man. This really, really warms my heart, man. We really need it, so thank you very much. That's one of the things that sucks about not being able to do these shows every week. I really depend on that income that you guys give, so missing 2 weeks, man, really, really hurts. So if it's not too much to ask, yeah, give a little extra, man. We need it. Tevin is the only one so far say he never saw The Matrix. Man, you gotta watch The Matrix. What's wrong with you? This is beyond me. Sevan said, I remember it. I will keep posting the truth. Or keep posting the truth, absolutely. Again, Felicia, thank you. So we know The Matrix, right? Why people watch it, I never saw it either. Y'all gotta, oh my goodness, man. Listen, let me tell you guys something. The Matrix is not just a movie. For many people it is, but you can see The Matrix on many different dimensions. The first layer is just a movie, right? The next layer is it has a lot of Masonic symbolism in it. The third is it talks about consciousness. I mean, this is all in the same movie. This movie is not just a movie. It is to tell you something. This movie is a lot like, say, let's see, a lot of us heard of The Truman Show, right? The Village, Insidious, Vanilla Sky. A lot of these movies have esoteric meaning behind them, right? Symbolism. So if you really watch these movies, they speak to you and they're trying to tell you something else, kind of like a story or an allegory, right? When you tell someone an allegory, you're not just telling them a story for them to hear the story. This movie is not just for you to watch a movie and enjoy a movie and say, well, it was pretty good, right? Didn't have enough action or it started off slow. It's for you to watch every single scene and listen to every single word of this movie. And you will see that there's so much placed there for you to learn. Now, we're not going to go into all of it. Today, we're just going to deal with the first layer. We're only going to scratch the surface of what I want to talk about today. And I'm just using The Matrix as an example. All right, so we know The Matrix has Neo as the main character. It has Morpheus, who's the person who's responsible for setting Neo free or waking Neo up from the illusion. And we have Trinity, the lady who Neo falls in love with, right? So Neo is you. Okay, let's just imagine that you are the one. Remember now, Neo is just an anagram. Anagram means switching the letters up. One word makes another word. The same exact letters makes another word if you just switch them up. So that's an anagram. Neo is an anagram for one, right? If you put the O in the beginning, N-E, it's one for Neo. And the whole movie, we're trying to find out if Neo is the one, correct? So this right here alone is telling you that Neo is the one, right? When the movie first comes on, you see Neo standing inside of a room, and his room is 101. Neo is the one, right? So that would be 11 or 2 in numerology, but we're looking just solely at the number 111 or 101. Neo's inside the door, which makes him 1. Trinity is in the room 303, right? If you look behind Trinity's door, here she is sitting. She is Trinity. Trinity also means 3. Many of us coming from religion, we call the Trinity the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? If you're in consciousness, you understand Trinity is mind, body, and soul, right? But we understand that Trinity is the completeness of you, right? So to speak. Thank you very much, Janice. Morpheus is the god of dreams in Greek. Okay, so Morpheus in Greek is the god of dreams. Okay, so Morpheus is here and he understands the dream world and he's going to release Neo from this dream world. So Neo's, the beginning of the story is he's looking for Morpheus. Now Neo doesn't know who Morpheus is, but he knows that he needs to find Morpheus, so to speak. Thank you very much, Marco. Thank you. Me too, man. Me too, brother. So he knows he needs to find him. So it starts off with Neo seeing on his computer, follow the white bunny. Follow the white bunny down the rabbit hole or whatever, which is a Alice in Wonderland flip or connection, right? Which also contains a lot of Masonic symbolism. If you guys never saw this stuff or studied like Masonic symbolism or symbolism, period, you need to get on it, because they use these symbols and things to speak to you. So the more symbols and esoteric information that you can understand, colors, what colors mean, what checkerboard floors mean, what these things mean, the more you understand that, the more you will see a totally different movie that's going on. While actors are talking and, getting their script out, their lines out, you're seeing something totally different. You're hearing something totally different. It's a whole different movie to you. All right. So Neo in the brain, Neo mammalian, part of the brain represents consciousness, right? Or the part of the brain that activates once you are awake, which is why Neo becomes awake, right? So Neo becomes conscious now through Morpheus giving him a red pill or offering him a red pill or a blue pill. Obviously, Neo takes, I believe it was the red pill, of course, to become conscious, right? To see the world for what it really is. There is no going back, because once you learn this information, you cannot unlearn it. So let's just go to the point where Morpheus says to Neo, "Why are you here?" And Neo says, I don't know. He said, "You're looking for something, right? You're looking for the Matrix, right?" Let me read this real quick before we get started. Marvel says, "Funny, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and my dad uses the Matrix as an example to explain how Jehovah's Witness was the truth." Wow, that's crazy. All right, so I like to hear that explained, man. But so Morpheus looks at Neo and he tells him, "You're in a prison, right? You know something is wrong, and you cannot quite put your finger on it. You know it, but you cannot say it. You cannot see it." He says, "You're in a prison that you cannot see, taste, smell, or touch, but you know it's there, right? You know it's all around you," is what he's telling him. There's something that we're too afraid to talk about, that we're too afraid to acknowledge, and that is what's keeping us bound. The elephant in the room, so to speak. You are born into a prison, Neo, a prison that you cannot see, taste, smell, or touch, but it is all around you, right? Who remembers this scene with Morpheus telling Neo that? You were born into a prison, Neo. Neo mammalian part of the brain, right? Your consciousness. You were born into a prison, Tevin Ruff. You were born into a prison, Iron. You were born into a prison, Deidre. A prison that you cannot see, taste, smell, or touch. Wow. You were born into it. What is this prison? How would you describe it in one word if you could, guys? What prison is it that you are born into? What is this prison? Some would say religion. Some would say racism. Some would say worldly constructs. A prison for your mind. That's exactly what he told him. A prison for your mind, right? So if you look at our hands, our feet, they're no longer shackled, right? So where might these shackles be? How can you be a slave and you have no physical shackles on your body? Might there be mental shackles, right? Tim said a prison for your mind. Janice said, "I know this movie." And I mean, a lot of people, Janice, that's honestly why I love to learn. The more you learn, the more you can relate to different information, because you're now aware of it. See, the problem with the brain is this. It shuts down when it sees something it doesn't understand. It chalks it up to it's meaningless because you don't understand it. The ego side of you does not like to feel ignorant. So it will write it off as it must not be of importance. So if you see the white rabbit on Alice in Wonderland go down a rabbit hole, and all of a sudden everything begins to seem upside down, and then they land on checkerboard floors, you're not going to think anything about those checkerboard floors at all, because you have no recollection or knowledge of what they may mean. So you just write it off. The same way in the Matrix, whenever they're climbing the steps and they end up on checkerboard floors. Crisscross video. They walk straight through checkerboard floors. Thank you very much, Riri. That means a lot to me. Actually, speak louder than words. Thank you very much. So, guys, whenever you see these things like checkerboard floors popping up in movies, please understand that when you're watching a movie, the environment is controlled from the time on the clock on the wall to every single picture that's on the wall, a cup that's in the actor's hand, a coffee cup. Every single thing that's sitting on the counters inside of these movies is totally picked out, set to the side specifically for the scenes. Please understand that. So when you're watching a movie, begin to look around, begin to scale the room so you can kind of see some of what these things are telling you. Now, we're going to get into what's holding us back, but I'm just saying, if you guys really want to see some of these movies and see some of these movies break down right in front of your eyes, number one key is study. Study esoteric knowledge, study symbolism, study Masonic symbolism, no doubt about it. And of course, you will see a lot of this stuff come to life inside of these movies. Thank you very much, Deshaun. I will get that to you, brother. Absolutely. Nathaniel said, how about the part where Neo says, my eyes hurt? And Morpheus says, it's because you've never used them. It's because you've never used them. Wow. And thanks again, Riri. Because his eyes were hurting, because now he's seeing something that he has not seen before. Thank you very much, Rosie. Donation came to PayPal. Thank you very much. He's just now using his eyes. And if you guys know what it's like to be asleep, and wake up to someone shining light directly into your eyes, it hurts, right? When you've been in the dark for so long and all of a sudden you come out into the light, your eyes have to adjust, right? They have to shrink down, right? Your eyes have to shrink in size. This hurts, especially when it's sudden, right? So this is why, of course, Neo's eyes opened, because he finally saw the world for what it was, and it hurt. Again, guys, ignorance is a bliss. Thank you very much, Sagittarian woman. Sagittarian wisdom and lessons. Forgive me. Knowledge absolutely is power. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And again, actions speak louder than words. So if you're talking about, being exposed to that light for the first time and how it will be blinding, being exposed to information for the first time and how it can literally hurt you, offend you, because you're not used to that information. The same way if somebody comes and wakes you up right when you're having a good sleep, you're going to be offended. The problem is when you are unconscious, when you are asleep, you literally contribute to your matrix. So we're going to talk about that today, and exactly how do we break the cycle, or how do we break the matrix, okay? So thank you very much, Tim. I really appreciate that. So, guys, I'm going to read something to you I wrote down here. I have, the matrix is a rigid thought pattern, which is a loop. So I'm going to read this again, just so I think I'm reading it too fast, so I want people to understand it. The matrix is a rigid thought pattern, which is a loop of regurgitated thoughts with predetermined outcomes, which thus creates a program in your mind. Once this program is set, it comes with a set of rules and conditions that dictate the way a person thinks and acts, okay? So I'm going to read that again, okay? The matrix is a rigid thought pattern, which is a loop of regurgitated thoughts with predetermined outcomes, which thus creates a program in your mind. Once this program is set, it comes with a set of rules and conditions that dictate the way a person thinks and acts. So we're going to deal with the first part of this first. The matrix is a rigid thought pattern, which is a loop of regurgitated thoughts. A loop of regurgitated thoughts. Now, we could just take something that's really screaming at us right now. We clearly know what that's like. Religion. Religion is a loop of regurgitated thought. God is good all the time. Now, all the time, God is good. He may not be there when you need him, but he'll be there right on time, right? He'll never put more on you than you can bear. These things are over and over. Right quick, guys, if you don't mind, type something that a religious person says over and over. Repetitive stuff. I'm talking about just repetitive, regurgitated stuff that they didn't read in anybody's Bible, something that they just say often. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I'll start it off. Now I want somebody else to give me something regurgitated that religious people say. If I imagine that most of the people watching come from Christianity or are Christian. So if you are Muslim, and you're going to say something that a Muslim person says over and over, please just put beside it Muslim so we know. Don't question God. Wow. If you tell a lie long enough, you will believe it. Put it in God's hand. Thank God. I'm blessed. God is good. Won't he do it? Absolutely. God knows my heart, right? What's up with that one, right? God will supply all your needs. Won't he do it? Ain't God good? I'm blessed and highly favored. Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Oh my God, yo. Touch not mine anointed. Absolutely. I'll pray for you, Lord willing. Hallelujah. Definitely. His thoughts are not your thoughts. I'm going to have to slow this down, man. Y'all killing it. Dang. Goodness gracious. I'm going to go slow this down just a little bit, guys. He's a way maker. It's hilarious. He's a way maker. Man, we used to say that all the time. What does that even mean, right? Like, he's a Maywaker. It's so funny, man. Like, it's just something to say. And it's like, in hindsight, when you look back at it, it's like, why did I even like feel good when I said that? Why did I feel like that's something powerful? He's a waymaker. Like, come on, man. Lord willing. Oh my gosh, that was my grandmother's favorite thing to say. Grandma, can we go swimming next week? If Lord willing and I'm here, we could go. Lord willing and I feel better. If Lord willing and I have the money. Like, wow. Come on, Lord. Hope you will it. He never willed it. It happened for a reason. We always say these things, right? His thoughts are not your thoughts. His ways is not your ways. Good job, Andre. That's exactly what they say, right? But when you read the literature, his ways appear to be a lot like humans. He loves the smell of animals. He kills when he's angry. He doesn't like to forgive when he's insulted. He has problems with certain features of human beings. Like he cares if you have a flat nose. He cares if you're lame in your feet. He cares if you're circumcised. He cares if you have genitals. He cares if you've had a baby and you're a woman for some reason. It makes you, you have to be, you're unclean for a week longer. He appears to care about some of the same things that men care about. Futile men who don't have power, right? But like Andre said, his thoughts are not our thoughts and his ways are not our ways, right? If God didn't, who can do it, right? The devil is a liar. We hear that all the time. God don't make mistakes, right? Absolutely, he don't make mistakes, right? But the first two people that he made makes mistakes, but the God who created them is exempt from making mistakes. Isn't that crazy? Because if I created two cars, it's my first time creating cars, and I create two cars, and those cars are defective, I'm going to be known for, again, thanks both to Tevin and Rio. We haven't seen no issues like that in a while, so thanks, LeSean, and thank you very much, James. Have gave money to PayPal as well. But either which way, guys, if I were to make two cars and those cars were defective, had problems with them, you guys would say that I sucked as a manufacturer. You wouldn't say that it's the car's fault for being damaged, right? And if I wanted to punish the cars for being damaged and just scrap the cars as if the cars were at fault, and I started kicking the cars, right, when you brought them back, that would make me look even worse, right? So it's funny that we say God don't make mistakes. And again, guys, this all applies. This all attributes to your ego, and you'll see this in a little bit. All right, so God wouldn't put something on you that you can handle. We hear that all the time. I always say that people commit suicide. Simplest way to break that regurgitated claim up. God will never put more on you than you can handle. People commit suicide. We can just say, I think we can say that statement is debunked solely off that. In fact, every single person that's in a graveyard has had more on them than they can handle. At some point, they could not handle whatever it was that they were against. So they died, they passed away, they transitioned, whatever euphemism you want to use. All right. Every single person that is not living anymore has at some point had more on them than they can handle. And that's why they're not with us anymore. Right. God only asks for 10%, right? Too blessed to be stressed. Yeah, we hear that all the time. A lot of religious people should be rappers because they love to rhyme. You have to be married to have sex. Absolutely. His ways are not your ways. God's morality is written on your heart, right? How's something written on your heart, right? Josh always likes to ask that question. How's something written on your heart? Come on, man. If you seen your heart, come on. Have you ever saw anything inscribed or carved into anyone's heart, for that matter? No. So where are these words supposed to be written at? Come on, y'all. Let's stop being silly and repeating stuff, even when it don't sound right. God won't put more than you can bear again, okay? He gave you free will. Oh my gosh, they love that one. I had a woman the other day talking about free will so much. I told her, after this conversation, I don't even want to watch Free Willy again. Like, she just said free will over and over and over. God gave you free will. God gave you free will. And I'm like, except for the fact that if you don't live how he thinks you should live, he's going to burn you forever in eternal hellfire. So isn't that funny? God gave you free will, but if you don't live how he thinks you should live, he'll burn you forever in eternal hellfire. That is not free will, right? God has a plan for you. Absolutely. I was told that early in life that God had a plan for me, right? This is why my mama died, because God had a plan. My grandmother died. My pastor died. All these people that I cared about and needed in my life left or died because God had a plan for me, right? I'm sure you guys have all been told the same stuff. Let's see here. Alpha and Omega. Absolutely. The funny thing about that, Alpha and Omega, is the God of the Bible, or Jesus for that matter, he wouldn't have spoken Greek. So he wouldn't have spoken Greek. So honestly, he would have never said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. That's Greek words. He would have said, I am the Aleph and the Tav, right? Aleph and the Tav. Thanks very much, Jeffrey. I actually speak louder than words. I am the Aleph and the Tav. These are Hebrew letters, the first letter and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So he would have never said Alpha and Omega. But, people like to say that God, he won't take you somewhere. He won't take you somewhere and leave you, because he's faithful to finish what he starts, because he's the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, and the end, right? You bet not tell nobody but God. You can't make a left turn without God. God don't like ugly. Oh my God. How many times have I heard that one? Free will is not in the Bible though, right? So I guess I'll imagine that that's speaking in tongues. So I didn't have the vernacular for it. Couldn't bring myself to front in front of all those people. The Bible is a great book of poetry. Same with the Talmud, Quran, Torah, Sephiroth. I mean, I absolutely agree. Unfortunately, many people understand this as being real, right? I heard we were all born Muslims, but we strayed from Allah. I like that, babe. Right, ain't that it? He woke you up this morning. Oh my God, how many times do we hear that? He woke you up this morning. Predestination destroys free will. I think I went too far. I missed that one. Faith of a mustard seed. Absolutely. And I was talking to someone the other day about that. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to a mountain, be moved, and that mountain will move, right? Now just think about this. In the real world, we can conceptualize a mustard seed, right? So we can conceptualize a mustard seed, the size of it. Can you conceptualize faith down to a size? You cannot, right? Because it's invisible. It's like trying to conceptualize a thought, right? You cannot do it. So to say that if you have faith that equals the size of a tangible mustard seed that you can see, that's already ridiculous. And here we are, don't think about it. And you got people out here literally trying to have faith the size of a mustard seed, something that cannot be seen, touched. It's literally a concept, a word and definition. And you're trying to have as much of this word and definition and as much of this concept or thought as a grain of tangible mustard seed. It's ridiculous. You're never going to move a mountain by saying it, regardless of how much you believe in it. It just doesn't work. Life doesn't work like that, guys. We got to stop that. We're all born in sin. Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why, of course, Born Winners was born, because I want people to see that we were not born in sin. We are, in fact, born winners, right? All of the millions of sperm cells that are released during sex, and you are the one that was born. That's saying a lot in itself. So absolutely. Cleanliness is next to godliness, right? But even your most righteousness is like filthy rags to God, right? I know that I know. Yeah, they say that all the time. Jesus loves me for the Bible says me so. The irony is the Bible doesn't say that. Jesus never tells you he loves you, but there's a song that tells you, and it attributes this knowledge from the Bible, which the Bible never said that. Jesus is never quoted saying, I love you. And people sing that song all the time, for the Bible tells me so. Actually, it doesn't. So this does make that regurgitated, right? Only God can judge me. Absolutely. Regurgitated, right? Brick, I think I saw some um, Marco Polo. Might have saw like the first episode or something like that of it. But either which way, walk by faith, not by sight. Definitely step out on faith, child. Step out on faith, right? Wow. Faith is wish thinking, someone said. Absolutely. My mansion is in heaven. They say that all the time, right? So I'm going to try to go back up to, okay, cool. So I caught up. I went ahead and sped back up. So it looks like we know what a friend we have in Jesus. Absolutely. Absolutely. Pay homage. I might have to check that out since you like it. We got some of the same taste. So faith without works is dead. Absolutely. So that's just the first part. Just have faith. Absolutely. So we know what it means. Thank you very much, Kevin Davis. That's a nice name you have there, brother. It means handsome and gentle. Did you know that? It's a good name. Irish name, that is. I used to hate that my name meant handsome. I wanted it to mean something like warrior. I had a friend named Warren who went to church with me at a young age. He became one of my best friends, actually my best friend. And we were looking up name meanings one day, and his stuff meant like heart of a warrior. You know what I mean? And I was like, let me see what mine mean. Mine gonna crush yours. Like gentle and handsome. I was like, man, that sucked. I was so mad about that. I wanted a cool, like, powerful name. But nevertheless, man, that's us. So let's deal with the other half of this. So it says that regurgitated thoughts, right? So we said that the matrix is a rigid thought pattern, which is a loop of regurgitated thoughts with predetermined outcomes, right? With predetermined outcomes. So guys, this is what I mean. Now, here we go, guys. Predetermined outcomes. So your decision is already made for you. And because you're programmed, when you see this or hear this, you're automatically going to respond. Okay? So here we go. We talked about regurgitating thoughts. That these regurgitated thoughts have a predetermined outcome, right? So I'm going to give you a regurgitated thought, and I want you to give me back the predetermined outcome, okay? Here's the regurgitated thought. God is good, okay? What would you say back to that? Thank you very much, Vic. It's good to be back. Thank you for the donation. Actions speak louder than words. God is good. What would you say back? What is the predetermined outcome, guys? Thank you very much, Claudia, for the donation. Actions speak louder than words. All the time, right? So we know that when certain things are said, we yield back a response, right? And obviously, I'm just using religion right now as one. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about religion, of course, but this goes on in different parts of the world or different concepts of our mind as well and in the world. So thank you very much, May 5. Actions speak louder than words. Josh, I want you to do me a favor. There's a new video in Unlisted. It's called Training Program. It's a Matrix training program. I want you to get that ready for me because I'm going to be loading us up into a training program here soon. Kind of like Morpheus put Neo in a training program where they brought all the guns in. He practiced fighting, practiced jumping from one building to another, right? And he was telling them that these training programs, they look just like, and it's going to feel just like the actual Matrix, right? But if your mind is strong enough you can bend the rules because it's not the actual matrix, even though it looks and feels like it, right? You can do more in here than you could do in the world that you thought existed, that you were plugged into, right? So your consciousness can do more, or your subconscious, or your conscious mind, your neo part of your brain can do more than it can when it's in the dream state. So when you're in a dream state, you're just laying there, right? Just laying there. You might roll around, toss and turn on your bed. You might laugh in your sleep, talk in your sleep, but you're non-productive, right? So you're not getting a whole lot done whenever you're asleep, right? So let's just keep that in mind. So let's go back to this part in the Matrix where Morpheus says to Neo while they're walking through a training simulation, and there's a lot of people around, okay? And Neo says, Morpheus says, "Do you see that, Neo?" And Neo says, "What?" And he looks at all the people in the Matrix. He said, "These are doctors, lawyers, plumbers, the very minds of the people that we're trying to free." So Morpheus says that these people are the minds of the people we are trying to free. So when you look at the Matrix, a lot of us like to look at it like our actual body is somewhere else in a world, while we are in this world being deceived by the illusion of a robot, right? But actually, the Matrix isn't making that allegory. Basically, the Matrix's allegory, though, is that these people that you see walking around are literally the consciousness or the minds of other real people. Okay, and so it's not that, it's not, so to speak, that it's there's a word I'm looking for. Let's just say that if you are asleep, the Matrix has control over your consciousness while you sleep, right? While your body's in the real world. So this is what's happening. I just want to see that person who donated so I can take them real quick. Thank you very much, Marcus. I appreciate that. All right, guys. So I'm while we're getting that training program ready, I'm gonna continue to read. It says, so with predetermined outcomes, which thus creates a program in your mind. God is good all the time. Repeating this over and over, what would that do to a person's mind? Real quick, guys. So that's the next question. What would that do to a person's mind? God is good. And if you continue to repeat all the time that, now think about this. The way this works is regurgitation goes unchallenged. You're just repeating what you've heard. You're not putting any work into it. This is how they deal with your conscious mind or your unconscious mind. If I can bury something deep inside of your conscious mind, you won't even know, right? Chanting magically hypnotizes you. Someone says psychosis. Accepting this, right? Hypnosis, absolutely. Repeating all the time, over and over again, is going to solidify the fact that God is actually good all the time. Now, number one, we haven't even substantiated who this character is, right? All because of a book is telling us that this character exists, right? By the character's name and all this type of stuff, this character's personality that exists, okay? So whenever you continue to repeat that God is good all the time, it may, in fact, make you actually believe that God is good all the time. But let's be honest. The God of the Bible couldn't even get through Genesis with being good. He couldn't be good all the way through Genesis. Adam and Eve ate fruit, and he cursed them with sin to die, and every person after them to die, right? He cursed the woman to have periods and die, of course, and the man has to work now and die, of course. And then there's no forgiveness for this. This is just, you're going to die because you did something I told you not to do. So he couldn't even get through Genesis with being good. But he's supposed to be good all the time, right? Now we could get all the way into Genesis and go through Exodus, Deuteronomy, and get all the way through this Bible, and you're going to see many instances where no one in their right mind, literally, when I say right mind, I don't mean correct. I mean living in the right side of their brain. No one in the right mind would actually say that this stuff makes any sense. You see what I'm saying? So no one in their right mind would say that God is actually good all the time. Let's be honest, okay? He couldn't even make it through Genesis being good all the time. So basically, this creates a program in your mind, repeating the regurgitation, right? All right, so once this program is set, it comes with a set of rules and conditions that dictate the way a person thinks and acts. So once you accept the fact that God is good all the time, once you accept the fact that there's a hell for you if you do not believe in this God, once you accept these ideas that you're taught as a child, it literally says here that they will dictate the way a person thinks and acts. Is this true for religion? Yes or no? Does a person's religion dictate the way they act? Now, we may say no for a lot in a lot of cases, but we're going to deal more with thinking. Okay, we know a lot of people may subscribe to religion, and their lifestyle may not really seem to add up with it by what they do. But some of the things that they go through in their mind is literally unreal. Like, I know people who you may would say they don't act like a real Christian up front, but they torture themselves every night trying to get it right, trying to get this God to forgive them for what they might have done that day. Thank you very much, Anthony Baker. Much love, brother. Actions speak louder than words. So everyone says yes. We do know that your thought patterns, um, um, and someone here says no, your experiences do. Okay, we'll deal with that one as well. At least they will predict how much a person will react. MP friend, okay, I like that. It controls every aspect of a person's life. Absolutely. A person that's Christian will most likely go to church. A person that's Catholic will most likely go to the synagogue, right? You won't see them in church. A person that's Presbyterian, you probably won't see them shouting, right? But you'll see a person that's Baptist doing it, right? Why is that? Why doesn't the Holy Spirit fall on people who don't believe in shouting? Why? And why does he fall on all these people in the Baptist church and right across the street is another church and God ain't falling on them? Why does that happen? Why is it that when God falls on you and someone's shouting, whatever sickness that ails them, they still have whenever the Holy Spirit or whatever leaves them? Why is it that God will touch you and give you chill bumps, but he won't heal you? Come on, y'all. Let's think about this stuff. So we know that religion, religare, means to bind or tie up. And we know that your belief system will make you live a certain way, right? Dictate how you think and act. We know this, okay? So here we go. Let's deal with something, okay? So we're going to write this down. I need somebody to do me a favor and write this down so everyone can see it, okay? So here's my formula on the matrix, okay? Ego. So I'm going to write this. Ego. Let's see here if I can find the plus sign on here. I'm just going to write it out if I see it. Get this here. It'll go away, guys, but so you guys can see it. All right, so ego plus matter plus perceived value equals the matrix. All right, ego plus matter plus perceived value. Okay, ego plus matter plus perceived value equals the matrix. This is how you get the matrix. This is how you create the matrix. What is ego? Please guys, tell me what ego is. What is ego? Ego is the false self, okay? Emotional attachments, personal pride, okay? The conscious mind. Ego is a false perception of self, right? Religious Baptist mental disability. What you think of yourself, right? Self-awareness. Your arrogance is okay. Lower self, okay. Thoughts and actions created by experiences, okay. Like your given identity, okay, cool. All right, so I'll stop there, guys. Great answers, great answers. When you're full of yourself, someone says it's just a simple level of consciousness. Okay, that scared you. Okay, I like your given identity, self-importance. People who said, let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see. Pay homage said what you think of yourself. Absolutely. Ego is the false self. All those type of answers leaning onto that or Set. Right. Absolutely. Horus or Heru and Set made up for consciousness and unconsciousness. Right. Set represents the sun. I'm sorry. Horus or Heru represents the sun or illumination or light. Right. Knowledge. And Set represents the darkness. Right. The unconscious part of the brain. Right. So this is what we're dealing with. So guys, your ego is you. Now, what do I mean by that? The ego is who you think is you. The ego is your flesh, right? The person you see in the mirror, the person that you identify with, right? That's your ego, right? That's your ego. So it's you. What you look like, that is your ego. The person who you want to protect from embarrassment, the person who don't like to be humiliated, right? Your identity, who you are, okay? Iron, you're absolutely right. Horus is an anagram for hours. They would say, where is Horus? It means what time is it, right? Horus equals Jesus, Set equals Satan. Absolutely. And this is where we get, of course, God or Jesus and the devil from now, right? Ego is pride, right? Or the inner consciousness. So let's just deal with that. To make it really easy for you, we just said ego plus matter plus the perceived value of that matter equals the matrix. So ego is who you think you are, right? That's you, right? So matter. What is matter? Matter is anything that takes up space, right? Perceived value means the value that you apply to something, right? The value that, not the actual value that's on it, but the value that you apply to something, right? Perceived value. So it is when your ego, the person who you believe is you, and you take matter and perceived value of said matter, this equals the matrix, okay? So the matrix is the world that you have created because of the programming that's in your mind. So let's take it for instance, because we were talking about religion. Let's just say ego would be me, right? The Christian part of me, the person that was 3 years ago me, right? Oh man, no idea what happened. No idea what happened. Hopefully we're still going. If we're not, hello? Oh, it's still, okay, cool. Thanks. Thanks, brother. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So just hang tight. I'm just giving Josh some time to come on. He just tried to get it right, and I answered from my phone on accident. So I have no idea what happened. All I know is my computer said it was restarting, so I had to make sure it did not do that yet. Just give me a moment. I still know where I was. I just want to be able to see the things in front of me, see the chat room in front of me, so I can feel comfortable to make sure I'm not just talking and you guys don't hear me yet. So, but for those of you that do hear me, we're talking about ego plus matter plus perceived value of that matter is what creates the matrix, right? So that's exactly where we were. So again, I was saying that just to reiterate, um, if I'm a Christian, okay, the matter that I would probably hold high is the Bible. And why? Because of a preconceived uh, value that I have on it. I haven't studied it actually. I haven't compared it or weighed it to other books that are deemed holy. But I perceive this one to be valuable. And that creates my matrix. In my matrix, Jesus is going to exist. The world is going to be around 12 to 13,000 years old. Adam is 7,000 years old. And I was supposed to be enslaved. And I'm very happy that God allowed me to be enslaved so I could learn about him through that slavery, right? That is one mindset of some of the people that are trapped in the matrix, right? They're very happy about their programming. They literally thank God for some of the harsh realities that our ancestors had to face simply because this is how they got the information that they believe in today, right? All right, so let's see here. So everybody, we're good, right? I just want to make sure. Let me know we're good, guys. So y'all didn't miss nothing, huh? I just want to make sure while my computer was acting like it was restarting, could you guys still see what was going on, or have y'all missed anything? Just let me know. I just want to see if I need to say anything over before we move forward.
You should have been fine. I think it just closed a few things like Skype.
Okay. Well, absolutely. Cool. Master P said, read the Apocrypha, read the Secret, read Zeitgeist. Absolutely. These things are going to offer you guys a lot of symbolism, a lot of esoteric information, and a lot of information on other myths as well. Many people watch these movies and they deem them pseudo. Here's the simple things, guys. They're not saying any of these gods existed. They're just showing you the similarities between the old myths and the current myth, which is, of course, Jesus being born of a virgin. These are all myths, guys. And if the myth is understood, there are certain things you can take from it and apply to your life. There are certain symbols or symbolic type of things, allegories, things that you can understand to further your life. But understanding this stuff as it's literal is not going to help you. And that wasn't the intent for it either. This information was plagiarized from earlier sources, and the earlier information, it had no intentions of making you believe that this stuff literally happened. Okay, but if you perceive this stuff, if you have a value attached to this stuff because you've been told to value this stuff, for instance, we thought that the Bible was holy before we'd ever read it, correct? Because our parents told us to. We thought that the Bible was something that needed to be respected before we ever laid a hand on it because our parents told us to. We prayed to Jesus before we ever cared if Jesus really existed or even knew how to determine if Jesus had existed, right? Long before we ever even thought about if Jesus could exist or not, we were praying to Jesus. This all contributes to your ego. The person that you think you are believes that they are saved by this person's existence or believing in this person's existence and then asking this person to forgive them. This is going to contribute to your matrix, right? You're going to live your life as if this really happened because you believe in it, right? But we're going to make it a little bit more plainer for you guys. Josh, if you don't mind, I see the training program is not on the left side for me. So hang on. So before we get started, I want to call this the Matrix mainframe. This is where I take you into the training aspects of the Matrix, like Morpheus did for Neo. So before I bring you into it, here's what I have for the Matrix mainframe. So now We're going to take a look into the matrix mainframe. Here, I will show you how the program is actually created and how this program operates in your mind or in people's minds. As a result, you will get a deeper understanding of why and why people are still plugged into the matrix, act the way they act. So let me read that again. So now we're going to take a look at the matrix mainframe. Here, I'm going to show you how the program is actually created and how this program operates in people's minds. As a result, you will get a deeper understanding as to why people are still plugged in, act the way they act. So we're going to find out why people act the way they act when they're plugged into the matrix, okay? So, Josh, I'm ready whenever you are. We're plugging into the matrix mainframe, guys. Okay, so we just uploaded a training program. We have two bags in front of us, one on the left, one on the right. They both have two handles and a strap, okay? Now, the one on the left is a brand that I don't quite understand. I don't know the name of this brand. It is not popular. As a result, this is a very inexpensive bag. The bag on the right, however, is Louis Vuitton. Now, this bag on the left is around $25, okay, retail. The bag on the right is around $2,000, okay? Someone says they like the one on the left, okay. So here we are, two different bags. Now, one bag on the left is 25 bucks. The bag on the right is over $2,000, Louis Vuitton. Now, be honest with me, guys. You don't have to speak for yourself personally if you don't want. Which one would most people that's plugged into the matrix prefer? Which bag, right or left? You can just type R or L if you like. Someone says the one on the left looks better. Right. Most people in the matrix would prefer the one on the right simply because it's Louis Vuitton, the name brand. Absolutely. Right. Now, I already said because it's Louis Vuitton, but that may not be the only reason. So if you guys don't mind, please tell me why the right purse would be preferred to the left purse in our matrix. In the world that we live in, why is it that most people would prefer the brand on the right versus the brand on the left, if you don't mind? In a quest, I actually did that on purpose. I tried to choose what I would think would be a better looking bag that had a little bit more detail or something to it, as opposed to the actual expensive bag, just to see what people would say. But I know the fact is, it doesn't matter what this left bag looks like. Given the opportunity, if someone's going to freely give you a bag, most people are going to take the $2,000 bag over the $25 bag. Actually, they pay for a $2,000 bag before they be given a $25 bag. This is all about the ego. If you think that you're going to look beautiful and stand out in this bag, if you have this bag on, then your perceived value of this bag is going to be higher, right? Just for the name. Someone says just for the name. To fit in with society. Absolutely. Quality. Someone says quality. Now let's think about this. WLA68 says quality. Would you say that this bag is $1,925, $975 better than the one on the left? Because if you're talking about $25 and we're going to compare that to an even $2,000, this would mean that the quality of the bag on the right is $1,975 better than the bag on the left. Do we really believe that? No. Okay, cool. We don't believe that. We don't believe that this bag is $1,975 better than the one on the left, but people will still go for the one on the right. Now, the problem with this becomes if you don't have the one on the right, then you're going to get clowned, right? Or picked at, or looked down at, or insulted, right? If you don't have the right stuff on, you can be judged for being out in this matrix, right? Because people have attached their ego and their identity to matter, to things that they perceive as value. And this is what creates their matrix. If you don't have a Louis Vuitton bag, now you lame, right? Or or you stupid, or you ugly. You don't look good if it ain't Louis, or you look better if it's Louis. Both are still the same. You don't look as good if you're not wearing a Louis bag or a Prada bag or a Coach bag, whatever the name brand is, right? Someone said people buy what they want. Well, why do they want it? Right? Someone says, give me that $25 bag and I'll invest. Absolutely. I'd rather have a $25 bag with $1,975 in it than I would prefer to have an empty $2,000 bag. You understand what I'm saying? Period. Thank you very much, Sonia. Actions speak louder than words. They do the same with religious beliefs. Absolutely. If I were to put a Quran up and on the left and a Bible on the right, people are going to have their predetermined, chosen holy book simply because of what they were taught. And they're going to regurgitate which book is right, which book is holy, which religion is the right one. And that's what people do. They regurgitate. That's what ego does. Ego does not seek out information. It simply regurgitates. Your intelligence takes a backseat to ignorance, so to ego. So please understand that if you're thinking with your ego, you are not thinking. Okay? Ego is simply regurgitating. Okay? That's all it is. It's nothing more. Please understand that. It is an illusion. Again, someone said the bag on the left looks better. I actually did that purposefully. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the next item. Okay, so here we have another two bags. One of them on the left is brown. The one on the right is brown as well. Differences, guys. Which bag are you going? Which bag do you believe is the most expensive out of these two bags? Which bag is the most expensive, guys? Akeisha said Chanel on the right. Okay. King Ralph said the right. Wapapa said the left, the right. Chanel, right? Okay, cool. And just so yeah, absolutely. Chanel is the most expensive bag by far. Okay, so I tried to pick two similar bags again. Which one do you guys think looks the best? I like the left. Okay, the one on the right is Chanel. Virginia said the only people that will spend that kind of money on a purse are people that can't afford it. I disagree. I know people who spend their whole income tax check on a bag. Literally, that whole $3,000 check, they'll buy a bag. They gave me wine with it. Oh, I'm happy. They treated me like I was special. Well, you gave them $3,000. I mean, I'd have gave you some wine too. Logos, okay. Yeah, I said absolutely the logos are to let you know what brand this is because the goal is to, again, guys, dealing with ego. If your ego finds celebrities to be important, you may actually want to be a celebrity because you think that they are special. You think that they are renowned, held in high regard, right? The same thing comes with, like, say, Facebook, YouTube, any social media platform that we have. The people that have the most followers are usually deemed the most important. But why? We know that this stuff is an app, right? We know YouTube is an app. Facebook is an app. Instagram is an app, okay? Because someone is better at, say, promoting themselves, they're more consistent, or they may do a better video than you, does not weigh you guys' value towards each other or your importance towards each other, right? But this is just a part of the program and a part of the matrix as well. You may look at somebody's page and be like, well, he got more followers than me. Who is he, right? These things are silly, guys. These things are really silly. Do not feed your ego, all right? Let that die. So obviously, guys, the one on the right is much more expensive. The one on the right is around $3,000. The one on the left is around 27 bucks. That is a huge difference. Now, the truth is, for women, well, let me just say this before I get going. So I'm going to show you guys another one. All right, here's another, guys. So we have one pair of shoes on the left and one pair of shoes on the right. Thank you very much, Begging for Change. Yes, sir. I am back in the building, brother. It's good to be back. Actions speak louder than words, man. Thank you for showing up for me. You always do. So, which shoes, guys? Which ones are the most expensive? They don't have a brand on them, but which ones are the most expensive? Someone said as long as credit cards exist, people will buy this stuff, right? Absolutely. They take advantage of that instant gratification, right? And now you have the money in your pocket and you'll buy it. You don't have to pay it back till later, and you can pay it back in payments as well. Shoot, heck yeah, why not, right? Before you know it, you have a debt that's really hard to pay off, right? Yeah, Christian Louboutins on the right, absolutely. So we already know the bloody shoe, right? Um, Absolutely. So the red bottoms are the most expensive by far, right? The red bottoms, right? These particular red bottoms here are around 2 grand, and the shoe on the left around $40, right? I would try to pick two shoes that look really, really similar, and there you go. And you could be right. You could be right, Akeisha. I looked this up on Google Images. So you're talking about potentially, like Keisha says, $750 on the right compared to $40 on the left, right? Now we're to assume that the quality of this shoe on the right is that much better than the one on the left. And why is it that, you know, the shoe on the right is more sought after? I want you to think about something. Many of us are not even in the ballpark monetarily, financially, to even be looking at a red bottom, but we know about it. Why do we know about this shoe? Why is it that we know about this shoe? Thank you very much, Rolling Thunder. Why is it that we even know what a red bottom is by looking at it? Famous people, hip hop, right? Media, absolutely. Celebrities wear this shoe, absolutely. Oprah had them on, Beyonce wears them. TV, Hollywood programming, there we go. That's how we know about these shoes, right? They put them on people who we think are important. Why do we think they are important? Because we see them often. If they can keep putting someone in front of you, you may actually believe that that person is someone to aspire to be like. You may actually begin to hold these people in high regard. That shoe on the left is actually $29. And let's see here. I want to actually give you the name of this shoe. And I guarantee you we don't know the name of this shoe on the left. And it's crazy that we know the name of the one on the right. See if I can find who makes this shoe. You can get them at maliexpress.com. Looks like they're by a company called, let's see, what was that again?
AliExpress.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
They're wholesalers. Like they're not really like a big brand behind them.
Okay. But $25 are the name of these shoes. And I guarantee you guys, I mean, we could walk into Walmart, Kmart. I could pretty much pick up any one of those shoes and you're not going to know the name of that brand, right? Period. Even though they're shoes. These shoes right here around $30, $29.99 is what they were. However, these red bottoms are very expensive, okay? It looks like they need $1,000. When I pulled it up, it was some of the red bottoms were $2,000. So that's a very expensive shoe, guys. And the reason that people pay for it is because they feel that being seen in this shoe, they will be more important or look more valuable. Their perceived value or stock rises when they're wearing the material or the matter that they have the perceived value in. See how ego plus matter plus perceived value equals the matrix? Yes or no, guys? Is this making sense? If the moment you place your identity into something, you give that thing power and you begin to live and act like that thing really does have a hold on you. Like he just said, I don't feel that way. That is perfectly fine. Yes, Terry says yes. Okay, cool. Here's let's see, Josh. We can take that down now. So many of us can recall being in school, right? If you went to a uniform school, then this may not apply to you. But I didn't go to a uniform school, right? I went to a normal school where people wore clothes, regular clothes to school, and I was poor, so we wore what pretty much whatever, right? None of our shirts were name brand, none of our jeans were, none of our shoes were. We just wore clothes, the clothes that we could afford, right? And I got clowned, right? I got laughed at big time because I could not afford what the other kids were wearing, right? Cool kids because they could afford the cool stuff, right? Thank you very much, Janice Myers. Was this true for you guys? Did your school have people who could afford clothes and they were popular, and the people who could not afford the clothes, they were unpopular? Did this happen at your schools, or was it just mine? Okay, because here's what we're trying to get to. I want you guys to understand something. When I came up in school, now I'm 35, so when I came up in school, they had Boss jeans that just came out, right? Boss. It had big old BOSS on the pants, right? Either on the leg, on the butt of them, or whatever, right? Everybody wanted to have a pair of Boss jeans. I remember seeing them come out. Like, well, the first time I saw them, I was just thinking, that's gaudy. Like, who wants their name? Who wants to wear a pair of pants with the name that big on them, right? That's not even, they weren't even dope, right? But before you know it, I wanted those same jeans. You know why? Because all the kids in school that were supposed to be cool had these jeans, right? And the people's parents bought them these jeans because the kids asked for these jeans because they wanted these jeans. Boss jeans. If y'all remember Boss jeans, let me know, man. But I had to have a pair, right? Then it went to Jinkos or something like that. They were like a bell-bottom jean, but there was a straight leg, wide leg jeans, right? Guess jeans, absolutely. Now, if I remember Guess back in the day, they weren't expensive. Then they kind of like left and revamped and came back expensive, and now freaking Guess jeans are very expensive or whatever. Yeah, Sonya says she remember Boss jeans, absolutely. He said your brother had a Marlboro. I got you. I went to Old Navy. I ain't even go to Old Navy and Gap. I think my grandmother got my stuff from like a little place called like Yokefella. It was like a Salvation Army wear, whatever, where they had like used clothes and stuff like that. It seemed like all my stuff came home already washed. Tags missing, like I don't mean paper tag. I mean like no cloth tag. You couldn't even tell what it was made out of. You know what I mean? So my shoes were, you know, my shoes were fake Jordans, imitation Jordans. I had on what they called hoops. And instead of the dude doing like the Jordan dunk, he was like doing a backhand dunk, right? And I remember when the like patent leather Jordans first came out, the ones that had the real shiny leather across the toe. I had the ones that was like suede across the toe. They came from like Roses is what the name of the store was. But it's like those stores, man, that sit back and just sell stuff. They got a little bit of everything. One of those kind of stores. But they had what they called hoops. And I remember wearing those shoes to school, y'all. And it's gym time. Now, I'm already getting picked at, right? I'm already getting clowned because my shoes are not real Jordans, right? So anyway, I hit the court, and I'm trying to ball out even harder now because I got fake Jordans on. I know if I don't really ball out, they're gonna say it's the shoes. So let me tell you, man, I like to dribble. You feel me? So they done pass me the ball, and I'm giving somebody the works. Boom, boom, going behind the back, everything, right? I tried to cross over, and my shoes squeaked. Squeak! I drove to the basket. Boom, boom, boom. I noticed I left the dude, right? I left him way in the back. I'm laying there. Ain't nobody there but me. I thought it was because of my crossover, but it really wasn't. Basically, what had happened was, I left a black mark on the court, right? It was about 13 inches long. I guess I slid my feet so far and went back the other way. I shook this man out of his shoes. What had happened was they was all sitting there laughing at that line I left on the court. And I'm going to tell you the worst part about it. The buffer couldn't get it out. That line stayed there the entire time I was in school. This happened like my freshman year. I went to that school till I was in 11th grade, and that mark was on the school the whole time. Everybody knew it. I remember being in the gym and hearing like as like a sophomore or a freshman, and I hear people talk about that mark on that floor, and I knew it was my mark, but wasn't nobody in it that really knew, except for the kids that I went to class with, you feel me? So a lot of times I wouldn't say nothing, but I actually went back when I was a grown man, a complete grown man. The school's not even a school no more, but they still use the gym for recreational games, right? So a lot of like, they get a lot of league games up where like a lot of companies will have like, 6 people on a team and they'll get up and do like a season or whatever. But either which way, I went back to the game to watch my brother play, right? The truth. He loved playing basketball. He always like getting up with whatever team that's out there. And so I went to go watch this dude play. And that mark was still on the floor, y'all. I said, man, dang. And it was horrible, y'all, because I got clowned every day because I could not fit into the matrix. And I wanted to close. Will Smith had a song called Parents Just Don't Understand. And in this song, he's trying to explain to his parents that he needs better clothes. You feel me? So Key himself said, Road Moss by Kevin Wesley. Look, you know what, man? They should have knew I was going to leave them off, right? They should have known. They should have known, man. So let's see here. So look, guys, we're talking about why people act certain ways when they're on the matrix, when they're trapped inside the matrix, right? So that is one of them. When someone applies or subscribes their identity to something and gives it value, when they put that thing on, they're going to feel more valuable, right? So let's just take, for instance, jewelry, gold. Would you say it's valuable? Would you say jewelry and gold is something that's valuable to the people in the matrix? Not yourself personally, but to the people in the matrix, what we see on TV. Would we say that jewelry and gold is valuable? Diamonds, gold, all these things valuable based on what TV shows us, based on what the matrix gives us, all these things valuable. Not you personally, based on what the matrix gives us. If you knew no better and you were completely new to this planet and you were to sit down and watch TV, would you believe that jewelry is valuable? Okay, not you personally. Yes, diamonds, okay. Supposedly, right. Yes, okay. There we go. Jewelry is big in the matrix. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. I wanted to make sure I worded that question right because I know to a lot of us, we do not deem jewelry as valuable, but we do know that jewelry is perceived as valuable, right? Right. So if we believe that jewelry is valuable, then we're going to give our money or give our energy for jewelry, correct? It makes us feel better to have it on. All this stuff, right? Right. And of course, said we need the biggest diamonds. Absolutely. Pay homage said people in the matrix have lost accountability. They have pay homage. They have no idea that they're contributing to a matrix that's hurting everyone. Even the people that they love, they have no idea that by contributing to the matrix, you are actually, or by subscribing to the matrix, being in the matrix, you are actually contributing to the matrix. You create the matrix. They can show you on TV all day this jewelry being valuable, but it's not valuable until you go out and spend valuable money for it. You understand what I'm saying? So. No, if it comes from the universe, it will be the universe will make more of it. Okay. Okay, so let's just talk about it, guys. Let's talk about diamonds. We know, most of us know that diamonds are not actually expensive, that they were made valuable off of a sales pitch in the 70s or 80s, right? Could have even been the 60s. But It was made valuable off of a sales pitch, right? Diamonds are a woman's best friend. We were made to believe that these diamonds had to be on a ring if a woman was to marry you. That somehow this shiny stone it's going to express your love. And if you don't have it, then you don't have love. If you don't have it, you must not really want to marry someone, right? If you don't have that ring, like Beyonce says, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. But what if you are in a place where they don't give rings? Could your very idea of marriage or love be part of the matrix? You see, and this is the things that a lot of us don't really want to hear, right? If you were on an island, okay, and you met someone that you fell madly in love with, would you give two cares about going to a courthouse and getting them to sign a document that to approve your love? Would you? You would not. These things would not cross your mind, but because we're born into a prison that we cannot see, taste, touch, or hear, we contribute to this prison without realizing what we're doing. So when our children are born, we will sign a birth certificate for them, which trades your child off to the government to be used as currency, their birth certificate, right? In the same way, we have the government to approve of our love relationships via marriage, right? By signing a marriage certificate. Why is it that we give these things so much power? Because we have been taught to, right? And what you believe and what you give value to is going to become a part of the matrix, right? So if you believe that you are that person on your birth certificate or on your social security card, you're going to act like you're that person on your birth certificate or social security card. You're going to act like they tell you to act. If you were taught that you were black, you're probably going to act like black people. If you see a white person acting the way you typically would see black people act, you're going to say that white person's acting black. If you see a black person acting like a typical white person would act, you're going to say they're acting white, right? Because this is a matrix that you have, a construct. Who told you that a person should act a certain way based on the pigment that is in their skin? Who told you that? Let me tell you something, man. I can remember first going into sales, and I always hear that I'm well-spoken, right? But I always heard that I talk white, even in school. Who told you that? Why must I talk white because I sound educated? Why? You talking white. I always hated that. Why can't I just be an intelligent human being? Why do I have to be acting like someone else? Why can't I be being myself, right? Sonya said, I'm so sick of that type of thinking. And don't get me wrong, we do this a lot of time to our white counterparts. If they sound like they got a little city twang in their voice, we'll say they're trying to be black, especially if they're acting ignorant. But what does that say about you? If you say they acting black because they're talking in broken English and acting ignorant, what do you really believe about the people that look like you? I mean, just think about that. He always trying to act black. Nobody like him. She act black. She acting black. Why? Why is she acting black? Like when people start acting stupid and start trying to act like they thugs and all this kind of stuff, let's just keep it with that. Don't apply what you believe is an identity like black, which is really a color, but you're saying this to apply to a certain people or what you believe is a race of people, but we understand that race doesn't exist. All these things are part of the matrix. Every last one of these things. You use the matrix to even define yourself. If I was to say, who are you? You're going to start by saying, my name is, right? At a speaking engagement that I had in Atlanta, guys, the most recent one that I had, I asked this question. Someone who's willing to stand up, please stand up and tell me about yourself, just a little bit. And they stood up and they started with their name. They went to where they worked, and then they went to what their future aspirations and goals were, how many children they had, and things like that. My next question was, what if I told you that none of these things had anything to do with you? And you telling me these things did not tell me anything about you. They just got quiet. Telling me your name does not tell me anything about you personally, right? Because there's many people who have the same name as you. Telling me you have 2 or 3 children or 5 children or whatever does not tell me anything about you. There are other people on this planet who have the same amount of children as you, ages and all. Telling me where you work does not tell me anything about you personally, your essence, your energy, your personality, your higher self, your truest self, right? So these things don't tell me about you. Seeing your body weight, your height, how much hair you have on your face, how long your hair is, these type of things, how straight your teeth are, things like that. These type of things don't actually tell me about you, who you are. But these type of things are going to be how you identify yourself, right? These things speak to ego because none of these things are you. Have you ever looked in the mirror and saw your talents and saw your dreams and your goals, your aspirations? These things are not available to you by just looking at you, right? So you can't see these things when you look at a person. So when you see a person and you're looking at what they have on, what they look like according to the matrix, you're going to be wrong 100% of the time trying to judge or gauge who you think that person is, right? Now, for instance, if a person is a Catholic, let's just say if they're Muslim, this is more common. If you're a woman and you're subscribing to Islam, you're probably going to wear a burqa, correct? Because this is what the religion dictates, right? If you are a Christian based on your denominations, you're going to dress like these Christians of the denomination dress because you're going to become a part of them. You're going to look like them. This is what I mean by the matrix. The matrix has a lot of us trapped, and it's time to come away from that, right? Now, how do you get something in someone's subconscious? By simply repeating, right? This is how you get something to last in someone's subconscious mind, is by continuously repeating things. God is good all the time, right? And many of the other things that you guys said, God's ways is not like ours. Do not question God, right? He'll never put more on you than you can bear. These type of things have been repeated over and over, and now it's hard to say these things are false. The reason is because we have a perceived value that goes with the majority as well. So if a lot of people believe something, remember, ego doesn't think. Ego suppresses knowledge and intellect. So the moment you're thinking with your ego, you're believing that because so many people believe something, it can't be wrong. And that's what you'll have with a lot of religious people. They'll say, you mean to tell me 2 billion Christians are wrong? Well, unfortunately, yes. And you should not believe that because many people believe in something that it makes it true. Because many people also believe in Allah. Many people also believe in Krishna and Vishnu and Brahma and Buddha, right? And Dionysus. All of these other gods, people believe in them as well, right? Terry says repetition is the mother of all learning. Absolutely. Listen, guys. Your brain is going to work better when it's actually given a story, something that your conscious can remember and something that your subconscious can remember the tone of, the actual meaning of. So if I tell you, be careful not to lie, right? That would be something that is information. But if I told you a story about the boy who cried wolf, this story now will stick into your head longer, and the meaning of that story or the overall message of that story will stick into your head longer. This is why they told stories, myths, okay, allegories, because they were to help you understand something. These allegories were plagiarized, flipped, and sold back to you under the guise of religion. You see what I'm saying? So now a lot of people who see this stuff in books, they think when you hear this story again, it was stolen from the Bible. But in all actuality, the Bible is who stole a lot of these stories from different esoteric and symbolic allegories. So let's see here. Sankofa said, you can't grow trying to be like everybody or be liked by everyone. This is an absolute fact. You're going to have to begin to direct your own path. Many people ask for direction. What do I do now? My whole thing, guys, I always say go inside. And what I mean by that, it means to simply begin to think about some of the things that you're contributing to. Why do you contribute to it? Why do you do the things that you do? This way you can see how much the matrix has a hold on you. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing that you do? What's the first things that you're thinking? If I was to say, if you had whatever wardrobe you wanted in your closet, what would that wardrobe be? Why? Why would it be that specific wardrobe? Why? Right? Many people may say, I don't care what kind of wardrobe I have. I don't identify with myself with what I wear. I don't identify myself with my body weight. So I don't walk around feeling insecure because I may be a couple pounds overweight according to what they say my body should be. Right? I don't walk around feeling short and like I'm less than other men because I didn't get that tall. Things like that. I don't look at myself as less than a man because I don't have enough money or the money that I need at this moment, right? I can't look at myself and say, I'm going to identify with being a lesser man because I don't have access to money like that right now. That would be foolish for me to do because this paper cannot dictate who I am as a person. Now, we do know that you can look online and you can look up people's net worth, and there's a lot of perceived value that goes on a person with a high net worth. If someone says they are worth a lot of money, people begin to treat them differently, right? Oh my God, he worth this. She's worth this. But let's deal with that. Money we know is fake. Money we know is paper. A long time ago, if you were going to go to the bank and get your money back or give them your gold, they would give you what they would call a banknote. So if you went inside of the government and you said, hey, or not the government, but a bank, and said, hey, I'd like to get $2,000 of my gold back. If they didn't have the gold on them, they would give you a banknote or an IOU. It's spent just like gold. And the proof that you had gold was that note from the bank saying that this person has this amount, or this IOU is good for this amount of gold, right? A banknote. Now, your money is still called a banknote, but it's not backed by gold anymore. This makes us now living in the matrix. The sheer fact that money does not actually have a real value, only a perceived value, proves that you are in a matrix where things are not real, but you believe they are. And you don't think. We don't think. Because if we can take this dollar and say, okay, it's good, I got some money, you're not thinking. What you have in your hand is paper. They even charge you to spend it. A dollar costs 2 cents to make. $1, where I'm from, is 6% tax on the dollar. So if I buy something that's a dollar, it costs me 6 cents. So it costs me 3 times more to spend the dollar than it costs them to print the dollar. And you still have people who say, well, if black people would just save up enough money, money can't be the way to come out of this matrix because money isn't real. You understand? Money can lose value at any moment. When you see products increase, it's not because the product became more valuable. It's because your dollar decreased in value. So think about this. The most wealthy of people will tell you that it's not good to have too many of these banknotes laying around because they can lose value. And the person who created this note can do that. They can simply say this dollar is not worth what it was. You understand what I'm saying? So intelligent, wealthy people, they invest in things of actual value, like land, okay? They build businesses, things that's going to yield another income, right? But just having a bunch of money in the bank to a very wealthy man is a scary place to be because the value of your dollar can change at any moment because you're not in control of your dollar, right? Dollar is only perceived value. It's only the value that they tell you it has, period. You don't have a place to go to verify the power of your dollar. You only have the value that they tell you it has, right? The same way with diamonds, gold, and all these things in life. It only has the value that is perceived to it. It doesn't have a real value. You understand what I'm saying? Someone says buy gold. Absolutely, because in this matrix, gold is going to be valuable, right? Like I said, buy land, invest in things that acquire wealth. But having money in the bank, like I said, to a wealthy man is a scary place to be in. Too much money in the bank, of course, too much liquid money, and of course the actual value on the money can be dropped, right? So for those of you that wonder, when it comes to the matrix and subscribing to the matrix, why it does that, it's us. If we believe whatever we hold to be the most value, that's what we go after the hardest. You can look in songs all day that say money over bees, right? Money over women, right? MOB, right? Money over everything, right? Hustle, get this money, right? Get this money. We're constantly telling ourselves to go get this money because money makes the world go round, right? Money is good. Money can fix all of our problems, right? Because there's a perceived value on money. And many of us, just when you see a pile of money, you're already enticed. Dopamine starts bursting off in your brain because we've been taught that this is actually value. And we can't even help it, right? Because we've been subjected and submerged. Our subconscious has been submerged into this for so long. we can't see this green money without seeing value. Now, for instance, if we look at certain money like pounds or yen, pesos, and we see these weird colors and how they look differently to us, they don't turn us on as much. They don't increase as much dopamine, even though some of these dollars, these monies, their value is much higher than the dollar, right? But if we see their dollars, they don't really stand out to us as much as the money that we have been subjected to for so long, right? I'm going to go back up. I'm going to read what Payhammer said. He always says something good. It says, when money was made, poverty was created. Absolutely, bro. We all as humans had our own wealth. They made up their wealth and convinced us we were poor. That is absolutely correct. A banknote is not money. Sun God has said it. Banknote is not money. It is currency. Currency. If you guys have never looked up maritime law or tried to study maritime law, it is law that is based on the sea. You hear people say laws of the land. We hear that all the time. Obey the laws of the land. Laws of the land vary, right? So American laws will be different from England laws or African laws, right? Or Mexican laws. So different places you go, even in America, some places you go, marijuana is legal. Some places you go and you got the same plant you could be arrested for, right? So this plant that grows naturally out of the ground, you can go to jail for if you're on one piece of land that's called a name. And then if you're on the same piece of land that's called a different name, it's illegal. This is the matrix I'm talking about, or it is legal. So we know that the country, or we call it a country, right? But it's not even that. If you take this landmass that has been called America and broken into X amount of states, divided by lines, and each state given a specific name, separating them from the next. If you believe in that, you'll have no problem, okay, with believing in, or having no problem with, you have no problem with some of the laws and how they differ in different states or whatever. But if you truly understand that there are no lines on the map, there's no such thing as Detroit, Mexico, New York. In actuality, only in the matrix do these places exist. They only exist for you to be able to find them demographically on the map. But if you actually apply your identity to Detroit, New York, hey, I'm from New York, I'm from 3rd Street, woo, 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 I'm from this place, I'm from that place, I'm from Africa, I love Africa more than this place, I love this, I love that piece of landmass. If you're subscribing to that, you have to think, am I in the matrix, right? Like I was saying, if you have a plant that grows from the earth naturally called marijuana, if that plant is in North Carolina, South Carolina, the South, right, you are illegal. However, if you are in Seattle, Washington, you are perfectly legal to have this exact same plant, and there's no such thing as Seattle, Washington, or North and South Carolina. You understand what I'm saying? These are all places that are given to you by name, and we accept these rules and regulations because we are subscribed to the matrix and we don't question anything, right? So someone says here again, maritime law, currency. Now, maritime law, we've heard the word marine, right? M-A-R-I-N-E, mari, mare. Mari is a word that comes from the word water, or actually dream as well, which is where you get the word nightmare. Also where you get the name Mary from Mary and Jesus. Mary makes up the mind, the water part of the mind, so to speak. But maritime law, you have land law, you have water law. The water laws do not change like land laws do. So when you see these maritime law, please understand something. This is why whenever you go to a courtroom, the judge wears a robe, okay? A judge sits on a bench. Using etymology, a bench literally represents game, right? So a person who's playing the game, right? A bench. That's exactly what it's representing, actually. So whenever you go to court, the reason it's called court is because you're playing what they call tennis, right? Because they're bouncing laws back and forth to one another from the defense side to the offense side, right? They're bouncing back laws, and the judge doesn't care either way. He's just there to keep score. He's just there as a referee, right? Whenever you sign your paperwork, it's called a docket. You get a docket number. You walk through swinging bay doors. There's 3 steps to get up onto the podium. This is maritime law. A lot of the words that we use today are based on maritime law, so you got to pay attention to the type of words that you see. For instance, all boats are deemed female. The reason that all boats or ships are deemed female is because they all are carrying something. Men don't carry stuff inside of them, right? So boats do. So every single boat is a female because it's carrying something. Now, whenever you pull a boat up on a dock, you have to sign what they call a manifest. The reason you sign the manifest is because the boat has now manifested at the dock where it wasn't there yesterday, right? It wasn't there before, now it is. Now you have to sign what they call a manifest. This is where you count up and make up for every single thing that comes off of that boat. The color, the weight, the size, everything that comes off of that ship, right? And everything that comes off of that ship gets what they call a birth certificate, because anything that comes off of that ship is birthed. A bed on a ship is called a berth because you're inside of the ship being birthed. Now, when you pull up, the person that is going to sign your stuff or whatever, or sign your paperwork, your paperwork is called a doc, right? Or what you pull up to is doc, because what's being delivered is being delivered to the dock or through the dock, right? Now, whenever a woman has a baby, that baby is being delivered through the dock, right? And then your mother is going to sign a birth certificate the same way as bringing in something off of water. Now, ships come in off water, so the government in maritime law is going to lay claim to that. Currency, right? Our currency. That's what money is. It's currency, right? If you look up, and I said game, I'm sorry, but bench using etymology traces back to bank. Sorry about that. So I was going to ask, all streams of income lead to a bank, correct? A bank. The bench that the judge sits on, the other word for that, using etymology, is literally called a bank. Okay? So again, you can liquidate assets, you can freeze assets, all aspects of water, right? Cash flow, stream of income, right? Currency. These are all maritime law terms, and you can look this stuff up. So we are nothing but a commodity being used as batteries. You are nothing but a hamster on a wheel chasing after what you deem valuable because someone else has given you what to think is valuable. So you're nothing but a battery supplying energy to the world that is giving you what you feel is valuable. You understand what I'm saying? So let's take, for instance, let's put in front of you what you find valuable. Let's say it's money. Let's say it's jewelry. Let's say it's nice cars, houses, or whatever. If those things are in front of you and you believe these things to be valuable, you're going to work harder at obtaining the things that you perceive as valuable. Therefore, you're going to power the matrix, right? Because you have to earn money to be able to trade for these things. You understand what I'm saying? So if you guys truly cared to try to understand about sovereign law or maritime law, you definitely should take a look at it. That way you can see some of the codes to the matrix. There was a guy, forget his name, maybe his name was like Tank or something like that, on the matrix, but he could see the codes. Like he looking at a screen with just green numbers on it. And Neo asked him a question like, is that what it looks like to you all the time? Like you can make that out. And he says, well, I know that you see numbers, but if you look at this stuff long enough, man, you'll be able to see exactly what's happening. I see a man here. I see a woman here. Oh, I see a woman in a red dress here. Woman in a red dress. And he said, oh, you didn't see the woman in the red dress? I built her myself using codes, right? So they're looking at the codes and they can see everything, where when you look at the codes, you can't see anything simply because you have not learned to break down the codes. You have to understand that the very words that you use are attached to different meanings that really speak to having power over you. You understand what I'm saying? So if you guys really want to take some time, please do that, man. Please take some time. I hear that. He said you almost with Jim Carrey, man. It's honestly just opening up your mind and taking some time to look at these things and realizing that you don't actually know anything. And once you understand that, you can remove your identity from being subscribed to so many things. I much rather subscribe my identity to the things that I don't know than the things that I do know. I know a whole lot less than what I don't know. So if I subscribe my identity to what I do know, then that's very small in comparison to what I do not know. So I would much rather just say, I do not know. I am still learning. the world is large and there's a lot of information out there. And as long as I can stay like that, I can take in new information unbiasedly now, non-biased, objectively, and be able to weigh what this information is, what these facts are, or whatever. But if I have a preconceived idea about what I want to find, then I'm going to disregard information so I can keep other information and hold what I feel is going to make me feel more valuable. See, that's what happens when you have subscribed your identity to something for so long, and someone starts to talk about that identity or challenge that way of life. You begin to be offended because this is your existence. You exist because of what you believe you know, right? Everything about you is based into your existence. So if you believe in Jesus, then you by default are a Christian, right? You then must be saved. And if you can be saved, then you can go to heaven. So if someone's telling you now that Jesus never existed, you can't deal with that, right? Thank you very much, Terry. You can't deal with if Jesus never existed. But what you're thinking about is, but I won't be saved, right? He saved me. I got a relationship with him. You're getting too far ahead. Yes, we know you believe you have a relationship with him. But what I'm telling you is this person that you believe you have a relationship with never existed in the realm of reality. They want to skip past proving his existence to saying, I have a relationship with him. You haven't proven his existence yet. You understand what I'm saying? If you have not proven his existence, you cannot jump to, but I have a relationship with him, but he provided, but this, but that. No, you can't do that. You actually have no proof that this person existed in the realm of reality. You can't move further into the relationship until you deal with that fact. But because you've already subscribed to it, you now need it to be true. This is what we get agents from. Guys, remember in the Matrix how you saw agents, right? And these agents can appear anywhere, right out of the blue. Wherever you are, when they find out where you are, they seem to show up, don't they? Okay, an agent may not know they're an agent. So you would see innocent people all of a sudden turn into an agent now, right? Because agents appear when you challenge the Matrix. You do understand that, right? Every time you challenge the Matrix, agents show up. Anytime you challenge a person's way of thinking, an agent is going to show up. It's not them. It's the subconscious defending itself, attacking you. It's not the person. It's the subconscious defense, the ego. That's what you're dealing with. This is people say, Kevin, man, how are you able to deal with religious people all the time, man, and not get mad? How are you able to constantly hear these people give you negative energy and threaten your life? Like, even now, they seem to be happy that I have a cancer gene. Told you was going to die a horrible death, right? People say, Kevin, how is it that you don't get mad at these people? Because I know I'm dealing with agents. You understand? I know that it's ego. If you are going to get angry and insult me because I'm disagreeing with your programming, that is an agent showing up to attack me. Do you understand? Absolutely, Kevin Davis. That's Mr. Anderson, okay? Think about this now. Mr. Anderson shows up as soon as you're challenging the actual matrix itself. When you start talking to a person about the crap that they're doing, they start getting offended, don't they? Now, we ain't even talking about religion. Let's just say you walk up to a typical person and say, hey, bro, okay, look, you live in an apartment, you're behind on your rent, you got a car that's well beyond your means, okay, it's $600 a month, you can barely afford it, and you just went and bought some Jordans. Why would you do that? I guarantee you he'll get mad and be like, bro, you ain't about to tell me how to spend my money. I'm a grown man, bro. I know how to take care of mine, bro. I know that. But I'm only telling you this because I'm trying to help you and I love you. And if somebody don't put you on game, you're going to continue to keep repeating the same crap that's in your life. The problem is we get tricked, right? So I'm going to buy that payday. I'm going to get that payday, not realizing, okay, man, I'm already behind on things. Do I really need to have that? Do I have to have that, right? But they appeal to us. They make us feel like we have to have that. That if we have that, somehow it'll make my life a little bit more easier or bring some joy to my life, whatever it may be. You understand what I'm saying? And if someone begins to challenge that, you're going to get offended and want to attack, especially with religion. So if I challenge what you have already subscribed your ego to, what your ego has already perceived as value, you're going to have your agent show up. Mr. Anderson. Riri Ha said, yes, your ego will keep you lost, believing that you are this person, believing that what you subscribe to is true and everybody else is wrong, will keep you bound up. It will keep you lost, believe me. Someone says, Kevin, when you walked away and saw the comments people wrote about you, they are ignorant. I support you for walking away. I appreciate that, man. I tell you what, the first few days or weeks or whatever of reading those comments, they did bother me. But I'm gonna tell you, one of the things that helped me is understanding that, man, I can't control what people type. I can't control how they feel because how they feel is based on their perception. If they see my video saying I am no longer subscribing to Christianity because I have not saw anything that proved its existence to be real, if you're watching that with your ego, you're going to be offended and say, well, he's a fake preacher. He never was saved, because if he was saved for real, he'd have never walked away. He couldn't have really had a relationship with God. See, that's ego, because all you're doing is bringing up everything I didn't say. You're not talking about what I did say. What I did say is that you can't find these people in the history of reality. But no one dealt with that. All they wanted to talk about was how mad I was at God, how bitter I was at God, how badly I wanted to leave religion so I could do what I wanted to do. None of those things did I say in my video. So that's the thing that really helped me to understand. They're not even responding in a rational way. They're literally throwing red herrings. They're only saying things that I didn't say. So why even deal with it? Why even respond if they're not actually going to talk about the video at hand? You know how many times Josh has had to comment to somebody and be like, bro, did you even watch the video? Because they looked at this whole video or just saw the title of it and thought they would respond. This is ego. Ego will have you afraid to even watch one of my videos. Ego will have you afraid to watch a video that challenges your paradigm, period, because you don't want to see information that seems to discredit your paradigm. People feel like when they write that they love that comfortability of being right. You don't want to have to go back to the drawing board and start over and reassess your life. We hate that. We hate that, right? We just want to be on the path and just keep it going. But at the same time, once you realize that your life is the way it is because of your contribution to your life, you would be then willing to change. See, I got to a place in my life where I had to look around me and say, okay, the things that are directly, because I'm not talking about systemic racism. We know these things exist to the masses, right? But we know that like LeSean called it, our ignorance. He said ego was ignorance. Now, of course, we're saying that ego is your pride. It is who you believe you are. But we know that in ignorance, a lot of things happen, right? So in our ignorance, we subscribe to these things or certain things, or we continue to repeat certain things in ignorance, continuing to create the world that we see in front of us, which is what we call the matrix, which is our reality, right? The matrix is your own personal reality, your matrix. It's kind of like on Facebook. When you log into Facebook, you're going to have many different accounts, right? And you can click on someone's account and you can see different pictures. They go to different places. They enjoy different things. They share different type things. That's their matrix, right? When you go to LeSean's page, you're going to see he shares certain things. When you go to Riri Ha's page, she's still herself. She's still going to share other stuff that other people say, but some of the stuff she's sharing on her own or whatever. So this is her personal matrix. If I go to Riri's page, I'm going to probably know more about Riri, right? Because I'm on her page. Let's see here. Akeisha said, Kevin, so far, let's see here. Akeisha said, Kevin, so the entire slave trade in Deuteronomy with the chosen people is false too. No Israelites. This was the slave master's way of controlling you too. You believe nothing at all from the Bible. So when you're dealing with the word belief, I don't deal with belief at all. So no, I don't believe in anything in the Bible or any holy book for that matter. I think that things that these books say should be examined. So let's deal with that. The slave trade in Deuteronomy, did it ever happen? No. There was no such thing as actual Hebrew Israelites or 12 tribes of Judah for that matter. Number one, because there was no Israel or there was no Jacob. Because, of course, there was no Abraham. Because there was no Isaac. because there was no Ishmael, because there was no Sarah, and there was no Hagar, because in Deuteronomy it says that these people are allegories. So there's no way you can get Jacob and Jacob actually get his name changed to Israel for after wrestling with God, and he goes on to have 12 sons, which become the 12 tribes of Israel. No, factually, these things did not happen. And according to the Codex Sinaiticus, many scriptures were added to justify slavery anyway. So no, I don't believe in the literature in the Bible as it pertains to the history of the Israelites or whatever. Now, you ask me, are there some things that I do believe, or would there be some things that I would agree with in the Bible? Absolutely, because the Bible has information that's plagiarized from other sources. So, is the Son of God born of a virgin? Does it die and rise again for 3 days at Christmas? And does it die under the zodiac sign of Aries, where it's slain? Absolutely, I believe all of these things, but I don't believe that the SON does that. I believe the SUN does that. And it's written in the stars. We can see it every single year. Our holidays are based on it. 12 tribes of Israel, 12 zodiacs according to the Western zodiac, 13 according to African. But of course, Jesus makes 13. Rudolph and the 12 reindeer, 12 months of the year, 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in a night, so forth and so on. You can see this number being used over and over. It represents numerology. And that's right. Galatians 4 and 24 says this is allegory. To be understood as an allegory, they represent a covenant, right? So, absolutely. As someone said, the winter solstice, absolutely. And then the spring equinox, which is why Easter changes every year to get with the lunar moon based on the full moon. And you eat a round cracker and you drink the blood or the wine, which is definitely attributed to his son. I mean, to the Son of God or Jesus, right? And Rob B said it's the Son, S-U-N, not the S-O-N. This is absolutely right, right? Of course, Masons, their esoteric symbolism or occultism, which means hidden, occult. Mason, right? M-A-S-O-N, right? Mason, because it's hidden, right? So it's definitely about the sun, but they spell it S-O-N as esoteric symbolism, a play on words, right? Mason. Pay homage said it's all astrological, no Adam, Eve, nobody. Absolutely. Again, guys, we talked about how ignorance is a bliss earlier. To be unaware of something can be beautiful. This is the aspect of the Garden of Eden. Consider it, guys. Look back through history. The snake was regarded as wisdom, wise. We still use serpents climbing a staff, the caduceus, today in the medical field, right? We see the Ouroboros where the snake is eating it or seemingly eating his own tail or drinking from its tail, creating infinity, right? We see the serpents on all the heads of the pharaohs. We look at the Kundalini energy where it represents a god and goddess or a male and female energy, male snake, female snake or serpent that climbs up the spine, reaching the pineal gland, which is also known as the serpent, right? Jesus is born in Nazareth, which comes from the word Nazir, which literally means the serpent priest, right? So Jesus actually being born in Nazareth is cryptic language for Jesus actually being the serpent priest, the one who gives knowledge, right? He's called the son of the morning. The serpent or the whisperer in Old Testament is the serpent who people believe is Lucifer, who was also called the bright and morning star. So what Jesus is called the bright and morning star, and Lucifer is called the son of the morning. Lucifer is also called the light bearer or the bearer of light. Well, God is called the sun and shield. This is just polarizing energy. They are one and the same. Everyone has a Hebrew. Everyone has a Set. Everyone has a Horus. Everyone has a Set. Everyone has a Jesus. Everyone has a devil on the inside of them, right? This is just talking about energy now. So just so you guys understand that. Again, there goes somebody again talking about the 7 planets, 7 days, 7 holes in the skull. Yeah, absolutely. 7 chakras, 7 seas, right? 7 continents, so forth and so on, right? And we're just dealing with the first level of this, guys. Just how we actually go out and make up how we go out and contribute to our own matrix based on the information that we're being given. Okay, So I'm going to read something to you guys because we're going to start going into the brain next week of the matrix and how it gets into the brain. Um, the right side of the brain, the right hemisphere of the brain is associated with cognitive skills such as creativity, emotion, and intuitiveness. It also controls the left side of the body. So right brain people are often left-handed. Okay, right brain dominant people are characterized as artistic, innovative, and often random. Okay, the right hemisphere of the brain is associated with cognitive skills. Okay, so cognitive skills is what the right hemisphere of the brain is attributed to. So let's see what the left side of the brain is. So the left side of the brain is believed to be associated with the linear and analytical thought. So basically, they say that you find consciousness or find God or uh, responsibility or free mind when you are right brained, right? So the whole point, the whole object symbolically was to get your consciousness from your left side of your brain to the right side of your brain. And we know this because it's kind of in our culture. When someone says something crazy, they say you acting way left field, right? Way left, right? Um, when somebody does something that we don't like, we say that ain't right, right? That ain't right. Something is right or something is wrong, right? But when we say right, it's often attributed with being correct, right? On the right side. Jesus sits where? On the right side of God. It's literally, Jesus represents your consciousness, just as Neo represents your consciousness. Jesus is the one, according to the allegory, just like Neo is the one, according to the Matrix's allegory. You represent Neo, your higher self represents Neo. Your higher self also represents Jesus in the religion of the Bible, okay? So Jesus, the whole goal is to become Jesus, to get your consciousness from the left side of your brain to the right side of your brain, because we do understand that you can't understand spiritual things with a intellectual mind, right? So the left side of the brain is analytical thought, right? So you can't analyze, you can't challenge or put in front of you thought. Thought would be spiritual because you can't see it, right? It goes on in your head. It goes on in here, not out here. So thoughts are something that's spiritual. And because thought cannot be analyzed by putting it out in front of you and showing it to another person, the whole goal is to become right brain so you can become expressive, right? Expressive, more artistic, more creative. So that's the right brain. So Jesus always talks about being on the right, right? He says he sits on the right hand of God. He says, cast your net to the right side. It's always the right, never the left. Why is that? Because subconsciously, or in the Bible, it's literally telling you that consciousness is on the right, right? It is to be on the right side of the brain. So it's just telling you how the brain works. So the Bible absolutely is made up of Jesus and his 12 cannabinoids, or the 12 disciples. Jesus represents the pineal gland, right? Which is the higher level cerebrum way of thinking. This is why Jesus dies, of course, at 33, because the 33rd vertebrae is right before your pineal gland, which would be right before your crown chakra. He will die when he's on Calvary. It is at Calvary that he will be crucified. Calvary comes from the word Golgotha, which means the place of the skull, right? Again, that's right, Anaquest. Pituitary gland is the land of milk and honey. It absolutely is correct. The promised land is the land of milk and honey. The oil, the sacred oil that would climb your spine and reach your pineal gland to enlighten you, was called the anointing oil, the wine, if you will. This is why Jesus turned water into wine, the holy nectar, right? This is why they give you olive oil and they place it on the center of your forehead, of course, where Hindus place their red dot, because this is symbolizing the pineal gland, placing this oil on the outside of your head, though. The actual oil is on the inside of your head, per ancient thought. Also in the Bible, this literature says that God dwells in temples not made of hands. There was no sound of hammers when building these temples. Which temples do you know of that are not made of hands? Right here on the left and right side of your head. He dwells within temples not made of hands, right? We know this. So your higher self, who you've been looking for, is not in some heaven. He's not found in a book, or it's not found in a book, rather. It is found inside of you. You are your higher self, your truest self, your truest energy, your personality. By the understanding, this is how it goes. So just so you guys know. Dionysus also was said to turn water to wine. If you look up pictures of him, you always see him holding grapes. And of course, this wine is still symbolic for higher consciousness, higher way of thinking. So this is exactly what it's talking about. So the Bible and the Matrix is the same way. It's telling you about yourself, not a person. So let's just say if people really strongly believe that the Matrix was the word of God, right, from God, that God spoke to movie directors and script writers and told them to put together this movie, and that it really happened. Okay, so let's just imagine that. Okay, now it's the same way with the Bible. People would believe that Neo really existed and that one day he's going to come and rescue them from the robots or whatever. It's the same way as people believing in actual Jesus himself being a real person and him coming back one day to rescue us. And at the end, he flew. Notice Neo on the first episode, he ascended into heaven, didn't he? At the very end, he died, he rose again, and then he had 12 bullets in front of him. Neo, whenever he got shot right in front of room 303, which is 33, Neo reached the top floor to be able to go into the room to leave the Matrix. He walked in room number 33. Jesus died at 33. There was an agent waiting for him in number 33. He shoots Neo. Neo is dead, and he rises again. And next time they shoot at him, he puts his palm out and says, "Stop." The bullets come out and stop, and he counts them. There are 12 bullets. You understand what I'm saying? Neo, whenever they were chasing him, they told him to run to 303 Street, something Street. So every single thing in this movie dealing with Neo was always 3-3 because he was headed to the level of 33 where he would be crucified inside of his skull. When Neo is in the Matrix and he gets shot, Neo is in his skull. The Matrix, he's plugged into his skull, and this is where he died. This is where he's crucified. And it's after that that he becomes the one. And at the end, what does he do? He ascends. He flies, just like Jesus does, right? Neo is Jesus. You are Neo. You are Jesus. You see what I'm saying? So your consciousness is representation of Neo, or the neo-mammalian part of the brain, which represents consciousness and having the awareness, okay, to see around you. Please understand that just being conscious is not enough. Being conscious, you're not learning. You're only existing in the realm that you're in. So you might be driving down the road and you're conscious, which means you are able to slow down when cars slow down in front of you, stop at red lights and things like that. But at the same time, you're not actually learning the streets. You might not be able to recall every street you pass, every store you pass. If it's a place you only been to one time, you may you may not even remember how to get there unless you use navigation again. Rob says Neo is not Jesus. Of course, Neo is not Jesus literally. What I'm talking about is by symbolism. Neo has the same representation, same esoteric symbolism as Jesus does. Neither one of these characters existed in the realm of reality, but they are for you to be able to look at these people and draw from. Neo was able to come out of a belief that he was subjected to his whole entire life, undo that, and become the very best at maneuvering inside the Matrix, which is disregarding the rules that he was so used to obeying. He is now in the same world that he used to be in. In this world, he can very well believe in gravity. He can very well believe in everything that he believed in that other world. But he now has to remember that he's in a matrix. And because he knows he's in a matrix, he can now go against the grain or against what the other people in the matrix do. Now, here's the same thing with you. When you become aware that you are in a matrix, you will be able to do things that are different from what the matrix people do. This is how you're going to have power beyond measure. Jesus talks about, in the literature, of course, Jesus never existed, but you've been able to do even mightier things than him, right? Because you understand that this world is a construct, right? Everything is not as is. Just because you're taught to live a certain way does not mean you have to live a certain way. So the question was, what keeps us in the position that we're in, keeping us from moving forward? Exposing the game, right? The matrix is what's holding us back, and it's our contribution to it that's holding us back. You guys do know that the matrix does not show up on our doorstep every morning, forcing us to live it with a gun to our head, right? We go out every day and live the life that we choose to live. No one's putting a gun to our head and making us do the things we do. So why aren't our days more productive? Why aren't we working for a better world for all of us, let alone ourselves? Why do we wake up and just continue to go with the flow? If you're continuing to just go with the flow like that hamster on that wheel, are you ever going to get out of the cage? Are you ever going to create a better life for you? Are you ever going to see a better world in your reality? If you don't do something different, if you continue to do what you're doing, buying what you're buying, saving the way you're saving, is your life going to change? Rob B says, am I saying that the Bible is useless? It depends. A hammer is useless if you're drowning, right? But if you're building something, then it's not useless. So a Bible, if you're drowning, is useless, right? A Bible, if you're trying to understand the meaning of it to ancient thought and understand the symbolism, it's very useful. But if you're misunderstanding the uses for a Bible and trying to use it in a way that it's not created to be used for, it is useless. Can the Bible save your soul? Absolutely not. Can the Bible or any person in the Bible hear you when you pray to them? Absolutely not. The Bible is not for that. Please understand, we've been taught that the Bible was for that, but it is not. The Bible is a myth book for you to read and understand the parables and the mythology and the allegories. That's literally it. It's the same as any other book. So don't be offended or don't be discouraged and think you have to now find the right book. There is no right book when it comes to finding God. You understand what I'm saying? Please understand that. So guys, the whole point of understanding the matrix is so you can take your power back. Please understand that there are people who use your belief in the matrix and they use your perceived values to use you, manipulate you, and become powerful. Do you know that? There are people who use your perceived values and use what you believe is real to manipulate you and become further empowered. I want you to imagine something. Just go back to slavery, right? Where black people were making to pick cotton. They were made to pick cotton. Thank you very, very much, Fame Little. They were made to pick cotton. So just imagine that in Europe, there's these black people out here in Europe or whatever during slavery buying really nice high-end cotton clothing, right? Just chilling like, look at this, bro. This cost me boom, 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 bragging about it, right? Look at this. Just imagine how that would make you feel as a slave. You would be like, man, you're contributing to slavery. If there wasn't a demand for cotton, they wouldn't have them picking it. So therefore, you are just as guilty as the people enslaving them. This is what you would say. Now, we live in a world where people are forced to dig up diamonds, right? In this world, people are forced to dig up diamonds. But people here buy these diamonds and literally brag about it. Some women won't marry you unless you have a diamond, and you're giving it to them. Now, in a world where people are murdered, okay, and their freedom is taken to mine these caves and pull up these diamonds for you, can we say diamonds are no longer valuable and stop spending money on diamonds, making them valuable, right? And reduce the need for diamonds. Therefore, you won't have to enslave people to find diamonds. You understand what I'm saying? How we can change. People say, I don't like the food that comes from McDonald's. Well, then stop eating it. Stop buying it. You do understand that your money is why they are in business, okay? If you're not contributing to it, they will change what they do. Any person that's in business would do that. If you don't like it, stop contributing to it. This is what we have to learn, right? We have to learn this. I've said before that when you can become nothing, you can become anything. And I say that to say that Thank you very much, Hyatt Sneaky. Actions speak louder than words. I really needed that. Um, I say this because, guys, if you were to say, I'm no longer going to identify with being a man. I'm no longer going to identify with being a woman because when I identify with these things, they're telling me I should think a certain way. So if I'm a man, I'm not going to be able to see how manipulated and held down women are. Well, no, I can see it, right? If I'm white, I'm not going to ignore how held down people who identify as black are. I'm going to admit it, right? I had a white guy the other day tell me I got pulled over by police, by a black officer, and he called two more officers to show up, and both of them happened to be black. Don't be happy for me. They treated me like crap. But either which way, a white guy had pulled up, and he was talking to me about it, and he said, "Bruh, you better be glad they wasn't white." And he was like, "Forgive me, man. I'm just honest. I know the type of world we live in. Thank you very much, Fame Little again." And I said, I just appreciate, I said, I really appreciate you being honest. I can't stand when someone who is white won't admit the world that we live in. They won't admit that black people, people who identify as black, is treated unfairly in this world. And that crap really bothers me, that they live in the same world and act like they don't see it. Like that really, really bothers me. Like as human beings, we got to be better than that. If it's happening, admit it. No one's saying that you did it or that you're the problem. You see what I'm saying? So just actually begin to admit that this world is jacked up. And if we can do that, maybe we can create a different world. But if we're just going to sit here and lie because we don't want to deal with anything that's uncomfortable, then how can we move forward? You see what I'm saying? How can we? We need to be able to admit these things, right? It's so funny, but if we see like a black person do something crazy, we'll say they making us look bad. How? Like you believe that if someone does something, it affects how all black people look and do things. Like we have to stop giving stuff more power than it deserves. If you see somebody being stupid, then that makes them look bad. It don't make me look bad. I'm not out there doing it with them. But a lot of us will start sharing stuff and be like, it done took black people back 20 years. Look how they mad us looking stupid out here. They'll show a picture of, say, a white family out shooting targets and then show a picture of black girls twerking and say, look at how we treat our kids versus how they treat theirs. Like every single white person is out here going to target practice and every single black kid is out here twerking. Like be careful of the matrix that you're creating because black women are graduating with higher GPAs than any other race, right? Black men are actually better fathers statistically than any other race. So before we start contributing to the matrix and saying things that may not be true because we've been taught these things, we need to start dealing with what's actually factual. You see what I'm saying? Because if we don't do that, we're going to keep on projecting that black people are violent and white people are businessy. You see what I'm saying? Like if you got on a suit and you talk like this and real talk really proper and say all your words correctly, you're being white. But if you talk like this and you hood, yo, what, who, shoot the shoot, then you black. Like we got to grow out of this stuff. Being ignorant is not black. Nothing. Black is a color. You're not black. You understand what I'm saying? White people are not white. We do understand we've never saw a white person in our life. You understand? So we got to quit attaching these attributes that come with these things and start to see the world the way it's supposed to be. Thank you very much, Nebraska. So guys, we're about to close up, and next week we're gonna deal with with this matrix thing a little bit deeper. Try to have people come back and watch the show next week. You ain't gonna want to miss it. We're gonna really go into the brain. We're gonna really go into the depths of the brain, of the psyche, to find out why it is that we do some of the things we do, and how can we break away from things that have been subscribed to us during the matrix. Why is it so hard for others, and why were we able to take the red pill and they weren't, right? Because some of us didn't ask for a red pill. I'll tell you this, guys. There was a lady who argued me up and down that I chose to drop Jesus. And I kept telling her, I did not choose to drop Jesus. Yes, you did. You chose to put Jesus down and leave religion. I did not. She said, well, yes, you did. You had a choice. You could have kept believing if you wanted to. And so I said, okay, let me stop you there. Could you believe in Santa Claus right now if you wanted to? And she said, that's stupid. I said, you're going to think it's stupid because you don't believe in Santa Claus. I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to attack you. could you believe in Allah right now if you wanted to? She said, that's stupid too. I said, okay, that only proves my point. People do believe in Allah, correct? Yeah, they do. Okay, so you can't say that I'm being petty by asking you right now, if you tried your hardest, could you believe in Allah? That's not an unfair question, as people in our world contribute to the belief in Allah. In fact, it's the fastest growing religion, right? And she said, okay, cool. Okay, so could you right now believe in Allah? If someone put a gun to your head, no, I could not make myself believe in Allah. Okay, so you couldn't choose to believe in Allah. No, I couldn't. So you're saying I could have chose to believe in Jesus then, but you can't choose to believe in Allah. Do you not see how this is a problem? Well, you already had Jesus, so you chose to leave Jesus. Okay, let's deal with me choosing to leave Jesus. Okay, what if I were to tell you I didn't choose to leave Jesus at all? What if I were to tell you that I got so much information that it became impossible for me to ascribe or subscribe my identity to a belief in Jesus? What if I told you that? And she's like, what you mean? I said, let me give you an example. Let's just say, for instance, you have a child. That child goes missing. That child's 3 years old. They go missing. Months go by. You're not able to find this child. Now, you're going to keep hope alive as you believe that your child is somewhere out there alive. Even if it's in a bad condition, you still believe that it's alive, right? So people may be telling you, do you think that we should just have a funeral even without the body? Or do you, well, no, I don't want to wish, like I don't want to do that. I want to wait. Okay, cool. All right. You sure you don't want to try to accept that your child may not be coming back? It's now 5, 6, 8, it's 8 years later. This child that was 3 would have now been 11 years old. Still hasn't came back. This parent is still believing this child is alive. Now the police find a baby. They find a shoe that the baby was wearing. They bring that to the mother and say, we do have reason to believe that, your child is dead. We were out in the woods searching, and we were digging, and so far we found this shoe, and it was buried under about 3 feet of dirt. Now we're still looking, but is this your son's shoe? It has his initials inside the shoe, right? Yeah, that's my son's shoe, or whatever. Okay, ma'am. I think that you need to start accepting what could be facts, right? No, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Okay, a day goes by. They find the child. They find the child's bones. They find him. He's wearing the same clothing. Some of it tattered. Some of it's obviously dissolved, right? Broken down from being buried underground. But some of the clothes you could still make out. Let's just say he was buried in a coat. All this stuff, right? Things that would last long, just for sake of allegory. They call the woman down to the station, and they show her her precious little boy laying there, right? Now, this woman now has too much information now to keep believing that her son is alive, right? She has now been presented with too much information that she now has no choice but to accept the facts, right? If this woman is now still saying that my son isn't dead, even though she's looking at this 3-year-old carcass, right, with her son's clothes on it, everything, right? They're looking at this child. She now has to accept that this child is dead. This is what happened to me with religion. I saw so much information that I could no longer subscribe to a belief that Jesus existed, because I had saw so much information that said that it did not exist. Number one, nobody of him or any person found in that book. The stories are copied, plagiarized, and manipulated just enough to where people won't say that it's obvious, but it's still very obvious, right? These stories go all the way back. Horus died for 3 days and rose again. Dionysus died for 3 days and rose again. Heru died for 3 days and rose again. Krishna died for 3 days and rose again. All of these gods seemingly died for 3 days and rose again. All of them seemingly were sacrificed, and all of them were born in some miraculous way that did not require sex. You understand what I'm saying? So this presents a problem for me. Number one, the stories are manipulated and stolen, plagiarized. Why would a God who is all-knowing and perfect choose to copy someone else's story? Is your God a plagiarist? Because if Jesus existed, then the God of the Bible is an absolute plagiarist. He steals other people's stories. Do you understand? Krishna is 3,000 years older than Jesus. and predates him by 3,000 years. And this dude died, rose again, and is one day coming back. Please understand this. He walked on water. All of the things that were attributed to Jesus, other people did before Jesus supposedly did it. Okay? So this is the information that I had discovered that said, okay, dude, Jesus is not real. Like when it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was in the garage just sitting there, and that's when it hit me. I said, man, dang, Jesus didn't exist. That's how it was not a choice. I did not have a choice. Jesus was stripped from me in light of all the information, because ignorance and knowledge cannot exist in the same brain. Just like good water and clean water, dirty water and clean water cannot exist in the same fountain. Neither can knowledge and ignorance. You cannot have the knowledge on a certain subject and then still apply the ignorance to that same subject if you have the knowledge of that subject, right? Period. So the whole goal is to grow. And once we grow, make a conscious decision to stop contributing to the matrix, just like Neo did. Take the red pill. Don't take the red pill just because you want to know. Take the red pill because you're tired of being lied to. People say, well, I don't know what to do next. Don't worry about that. Stop being scared. Don't you want to stop being lied to? Who cares what the truth is? Just stop lying to me, right? Why are we comfortable with being lied to so much to the point to where we don't want the truth? We got to stop that, because if we're going to change our life for the positive, change our situation as a whole, we're going to have to apply knowledge, okay? We're going to have to, right? Listen, guys, that's it for tonight. We're going to wrap it up. I got a long way to travel, so I'm going to get on down this road. Thank you guys very much. I missed y'all, man. So thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for checking back in with me, even though we done missed 2 weeks. We back up going strong. Next week, we're going to deal with this matrix deal again, and we're going to go in just a little bit deeper, guys. Today, we just scratched the surface. So next week, we're going to go all the way. I want to say it's about 3 levels to this. So we're going to keep on going deeper. Rashad, I am writing a book, brother. I am writing a book. And so next week, guys, we're going to go in a little bit deeper. Believe me, I totally did not scratch the surface. So we're going to find out next week more about this matrix that seemingly ruins our world because we contribute to it without thinking. It's time for us to wake up, guys. It's time for us to contribute to the world ourselves and make it better, right? Thank you very much, Kevin, man. You a beast tonight, bro. You looking out. Really need that, bro. Let's see here. Everybody, a little homework, okay? Most of you guys, let's do this before I let you go. If you don't mind, tell me what zodiac sign you were born under, okay? I'm going to take 1 minute and just look at the zodiac signs you guys are born under. Also put your birth date, if you don't mind. I know a few of you probably already put it. So if you already put it, you can go again and put your birth date. Libra, Scorpio, Libra, Capricorn, Scorpio, Gemini. The scuba gear. Virgo. Yeah, we're going to put the scuba gear on next week, Papa the Master Student. Leo, Libra, Virgo, Gemini. See Virgo again. I thank you guys. Cancer, I see Virgos. Okay. Thank you guys. Someone said thank you for the great show. I am honored. Thank you very much, Riri High. Actions speak louder than words. Thank you very much. Shantaria, thank you very much. Taurus, I see you, Eden. Okay, so I see everyone seems to know their zodiac right off. We are going to deal with something, okay? I want you guys to do me a favor, please. Tonight or tomorrow, just sometime during the week for next week, I want you to look into the 13 zodiac signs. African zodiac, it predates the Western 12. And I want you guys to tell me what it means to you, because a lot of you guys' zodiac that you guys have been subscribing to for your whole life may in fact change, okay? Mine did. I'm a Virgo by the 12. I'm a Leo by the 13. Okay, so I want you guys to do that. Also, just look up your before you get mad about it, because your zodiac could very well change. I know a lot of you guys have listened to the attributes surrounding your zodiac's personality and things like that. You may feel that you can subscribe to it, or that it has a lot to do with you, or whatever. But I want you to first look at the attributes, subscribe to the zodiac that you are attributed to in the 13 zodiac. So, for instance, if you see Cancer and you now become a Cancer because you thought you were a Gemini, please look up what the meaning for a Cancer is in the 13 zodiac, because it'll be a little different than the 12. So before you get offended, before you get hurt, because it's going to challenge your paradigm, challenge your matrix. Thank you very much, Dave B. Because if you need to be a Scorpio, then just stay a Scorpio. If you need to be a Virgo or a Sagittarius, then by all means. But this right here is exactly what I mean by ego. For a lot of you, whenever you see that your name or your zodiac constellation is different from what you thought it was your whole life, that feeling that you feel on the inside of you, that is your matrix being upset. That's exactly what that is. And when you say, well, I ain't never going to be no Leo, I'm going to be a Virgo for life, that's your cognitive dissonance. We're going by the original zodiac, and who are you to argue with it, right? So just, I'm only saying that because whether or not you believe in the zodiac or not, I know a lot of people who look at the zodiac and they attribute a lot of their personality to the zodiac, okay? If it's different, what is that going to mean for you? I'm only saying this because this is what I mean by looking at information objectively, not ascribing or not subscribing your identity to the information that you learn. If you learn that you're a Leo, you don't have to become a Leo by nature, right? You can simply say, okay, I'm born under the zodiac constellation of Leo, and that's factual. But if you need to be a Leo, you have to question yourself and question your ego. Why is it that you need to be one? Monica says, I'm a Leo under both. Okay, cool. And when I first heard I wasn't a Virgo, I was just like, dang. And that's when it hit me like, what, do I need to be a Virgo? Like, I'm always going to be me, not even Kevin. I am always going to be the energy that is my higher self, my personality. I'm going to laugh at what I find funny, right? I'm going to get upset at what I find sad or saddening, right? I'm going to be me. I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be talented. That's who I am, right? I'm going to be that if you change my name. If I woke up tomorrow in a coma, okay, and did not know who I was, nor did I know anyone else around me, I would still be me. I may not know my name. I may not know who my brothers are, my children are, but I'm not going to change. I'm going to still be me. You understand? I might not know what how to describe myself by way of my name and stuff like that, but it's not going to change who I am. And this is my whole point. Undo it, guys. Come unglued from what you've attached your identity to and learn to see your higher self, your energy for what it truly is. And if you can become that, you can become what they say is water. Like Bruce Lee says, if you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water into a bowl, it becomes the bowl. Water can crash and water can heal, right? It can become water. Water can do it all. If you put a drop of water into the ocean, it becomes the ocean. If you can learn to see through your higher self, you will understand that every single person is a part of you. And if we could do that, we would have more love for one another, right? We would do more for one another instead of believing that you are separate from everybody else. That's ego, right? Drop the ego and find yourself blended with everyone. And we can truly see a peaceful world. This is what I believe, all right? So, guys, that being said, I love you all. Josh, do you have any last words, brother?
I was gonna ask, do we have anything to promote immediately? I was just trying to think of stuff. I don't think so at the moment.
Let's see here. I would say this, guys. Like, we'll be working on it this week. Born winners, of course. We now have backpacks. I'm gonna hold up one for you, right here. Born winners. These are really nice because they have like a little handy dandy pouch in the back that no one can see. Right? No one knows it's even there. So it can be a little secret compartment there. I think these are really dope. They're not just a backpack, but they are also laptop cases. School about to start back, so please, guys, support us now. Support and go get you a Born Winners backpack. You will see some sport-oriented backpacks coming up this week. We'll have one for basketball, baseball, and football, of course, for your children that like sports. So please, guys, go if you're gonna buy a backpack, which we know you will. Why not buy it from Kevin? Why not buy a Born Winners backpack? Support the brand, support our mission, support what we're doing, and hopefully somebody can see this logo and say, "Hey, man, it's becoming popular. I gotta have one too." And before you know it, we'll be doing all right. We'll be able to do more things in the community if we have more income. I don't want to continue to just depend on all of you guys to give your hard-earned money to support the mission whenever we can create a product that can support the mission. That's my goal with Born Winners. I love to see Born Winners take off and not be in a position to need handouts anymore, right? I hate that. I really do. I'm not making enough to survive off of donations alone, even though I have many people who subscribe to the channel and many people who watch the lives. I know that a lot of people who left religion are really hurt and they don't have a lot of trust since they left religion. They have been manipulated. But I ask you guys to trust me. I know you guys seen my body of work. I have not stopped the last 2 years. I have a nonprofit, guys, and I'm about business. I'm tired of playing games. I'm tired of hearing myself talk without seeing a result. So what we're trying to do is really make something happen in the realm of reality and get off a line. All right. Can y'all help me do that? You understand what I'm saying? Can y'all help me create the world that we all want to see? That's my question to you. I'm tired of talking. I really am. The GoFundMe alone is we've only raised up about 10% of what we really need, and I have 141,000 people who follow my page. You understand, guys? It would take a little bit from every one of us, and this stuff could be done already. We have got to start showing more love for each other and having each other's backs. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who say, man, it's just hard for me to trust because I've been used. All I'm saying is give a brother a chance. You've given money your whole life to people and not question where it went and why, because you thought a God wanted you to. Well, now you have somebody who's saying, look, given the opportunity, I'll do the right thing with it. But if you guys don't fund me, if you guys don't give the money to the organization or give the money to what we're trying to do, how can I do these things? It ticks me off. I see people all the time saying, Kevin, you talk about these pastors, then what are you doing? I mean, what can I do? Like, look, come on, guys, let's be real. All right, it says restarting again, so hopefully you guys still see me. If so, Josh, is there anything you want to say before we get off? It probably kicked Josh off too. So let's just give us a second to get it back up, guys, and we're gonna be done for tonight. And again, thank you all for tuning in. It means a lot to me, man. I missed y'all.
Okay, I don't think you still are connected.
I am. Okay, cool. Okay. Also, guys, about the gathering spot, I'm gonna be getting you guys the information to that ASAP. We did acquire the spot, so now it's time to come up with the date. Okay, for our gala, we're gonna have an amazing time. Like we're gonna have a gala where we're gonna all dress up in formal clothes and go out and just have a meeting of the minds where we just enjoy one another, shake hands, dance, put our arms around each other's neck, build. We're gonna have a really good time, a memorable time. We're gonna have excellent singers there and all that stuff. So we just this will not be me teaching. This is going to be an event. So if you've been looking to get out and have a really good time, you ain't gonna want to miss this spot. Okay, I'm gonna have a lot of people there. So say what, Josh?
It might be both.
It could be.
It might be different events on a weekly or bi-weekly basis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There will be several events there, but the specific event I'm referring to is the gala.
So hold on, just to address a few questions. Okay. I think Riri had a question about shirts. Riri, could you repeat your question? The chat closed and it was about 2-3 minutes ago. People asked about the backpack price. I don't know if we agreed on a price yet. I didn't put the backpack stuff because I didn't know if we agreed on a price or if that's something you want to discuss privately, and I'll update it on the website.
Oh yeah, that'd be fine because I don't know personally.
Okay, we have to check prices, our costs, shipping, blah blah blah. People asked about prices of shirts and hats. Everything, all the shirts and hats are on the website, and the website is in the description box. Just check the description box, guys. I think it's like the last link at the bottom. T-shirts from the Atlanta conference. I think we had those up for a limited time. Is that the one? Those are ones like with
That's
that
the ones
people's
that
names
have
on
it.
them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, they're not different size backpacks in request. They're all one size. Trying to think. Oh, okay. Riri, I'm gonna hit you up on Facebook, because those are a limited time, but you're a supporter for a long time, so I got you privately on the low. I'm trying to think if there are any other questions. I think that's it on my end, at least for
Okay.
the time being.
Well, guys, Jamar, Milton, and myself will be in Dallas, Texas. That's November the 3rd. You can definitely go to Jamar's pages and see about that event. I have it shared on my event, but it was a while back, so I have to go back and share that information again. It's far away, so I don't really have the information on that. But just keep in mind, if you're in Dallas, Texas, I'll be back out there November the 3rd. So just stay tuned for that information. I know how y'all are in Dallas, and I love y'all too, and I'm coming back. But I know y'all gonna beat me up over this time and date and place where it's gonna be. So I'll make sure I get it to y'all as soon as I can, because y'all in Dallas, y'all do not play. Y'all always show love, so I appreciate that. And Crystal, I said you asked about the backpacks. I'll have that information out for you. You guys will be able to go on there and get one. Thank you very much, Lolita Mason, donated to PayPal.
It'll
You
be
guys
on
were
our
amazing
website.
tonight. Right, Josh said it'll be on the website. And listen, guys, is it too much to ask to duplicate the way you guys gave this week, next week? I would like to continue to see that grow. Like, I really want to see people who are aware of the good that we're doing and understand that we need y'all's help. And believe me, for every dollar y'all giving, y'all are now participating in bringing this information to the world. If you find this information as being good and needed to make the world a better place, then you are just as responsible as I am if you're donating. Please understand that a lot of y'all walked away from religion and you wondering what can you do to make the world a better place now. Like, help a brother out. It's rough out here. Please believe me. I need y'all's help, and I'm really not going to keep begging this. I'm getting to the point to where frankly, I am really getting tired. I'm not, believe it or not, I don't like to talk. I talk because I have to, but I don't like it. I'd much rather be doing action. You understand what I'm saying? If you had asked Kevin, give me a choice to do or say, I'm going to be doing. You understand me? So please understand that. And I love you guys too, Crystal. Love all of you guys. Thank you guys very much. And so, guys, without further ado, we're going to now end the show and look forward to seeing you guys come back again next week. Be the change you want to see. And no candle loses its flame by lighting another. And thank you guys for watching another episode of The Truth Factory, where the truth empowers, builds, stimulates, and helps you grow. In other words, the truth hurts. HERTZ. The truth provides you energy. And that's all, guys. Love you all. Peace.
Peace.